kill them.
Neighbors in Portland that were annoyed at.
We had
No,
our
nobody
first
does.
apartment together.
Where
We
was
had
it?
teeny little paper thin walls and off
Where was the
34th
first?
and-
Where was the first
You
apartment?
told me Gladstone.
I did.
You were the one.
Well, I
who told
remember
me.
it's not far
Gladstone.
from
Or-
Pub at the End of the Universe.
Yeah. I thought it was Holgate, so it might have been on Holgate there. But no. So you
That'd be
said-
a cool place for you to do a podcast at. Pub at the End of the Universe.
What is it?
Pub at the End of the Universe.
a really
it's
cool
in-
bar,
it's
a
in-
deep dive bar
Little
that everybody
pub
does.
bar that-
Gladstone? No, it's in Portland.
No,
Southeast.
Oh, in Portland. I've never even heard
And
of
it's
On
it.
Gladstone
been there
Street.
forever.
And
but it's
I
one of
told
those little
her
hole in the
when you
walls.
were gone, if you actually, I figured she's going to be more chatty, but if you ever want to say, just grab the
La,
mic
la,
and
la.
put it in front of you. So let's get that out of the way so
Thank
you don't knock it over.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay, thanks. Yes, we are live and recording now.
Oh.
I definitely have to give a shout out to the, is it the Pump House Bar and Grill? Or?
Yeah,
Okay,
that
in
works.
Terrebonne, Oregon, here with my longtime friend who I hadn't seen in 34 years, Jason. I was thinking about this on the drive over. Your last name, is it
Marquis.
Marquis? That's what
Yeah.
but didn't people call
Back
you
in
Mark
high
in high school?
I got Marquis.
Marquis, but it's
Because
Marquis.
Well, my grandpa originally, he was very redneck, of course, and M-A-R spells Mar. Q-U is qua, I-S is.
Is.
Marquis.
Yeah. Is it?
I ain't no
is that-
fluffy, Frenchy,
is that
whatever.
French?
Yeah.
What is the-
It is French, yeah.
I'm so happy I knew that.
Yep.
So yeah, me and Jason, I think the first time I remember you was Ackerman, 7th and 8th grade. But did you also go to Philander Lee Elementary?
Yeah.
So and because I left for 5th and 6th grade to the 91 district, but other than that, I was at Philander Lee, Ackerman, and all through high
Not
school.
really much. I don't have many memories of Lee. Like I
Oh, I
try
do.
and
I
picture
totally
their
do.
playground or stuff, and it's
Oh,
just
I
kind of
have so many
all I
images of
remember
it.
is where the wall ball area was.
Yes.
because that's all I was really.
The covered
Well,
area.
Did they have tires that you can run on as well, like big tractor tires? That was
They
back in the
might
Eagle Creek
have.
school, I think, that I went to.
Yeah, I don't think Philander had that. But yeah, Canby, Oregon. We're the same age, class of 1990 from Canby. Tina is here, who was not
Hi.
from Canby, but you were from somewhere in the area.
Yeah, from Boring, Oregon.
Okay,
Oregon.
okay. You guys used to be married, lifetime friends
Yeah.
now.
Briefly
and then,
married.
And then Mike, at least lean in so we can say hi to Mike. And you guys are currently,
Yes, we are currently.
yes, Tina's better half, Mike.
Yep.
We had to at least get you on camera
Correct.
once.
Correct.
Assert
He's
yourself.
good at it. He's actually really good.
Get
at
in there and say so.
it. No, he's good.
So yeah, we just came over I wanted to catch the podcast with you, and let's just put it out there. You're stage 4 cancer right now. Been going through it for a while.
Yeah, a lot
And-
longer than they said that I had.
Yeah, and there's definitely want to touch base on because weren't you diagnosed kind of in the middle of the pandemic, or just before?
No, actually, well, the problem was because of the pandemic and the hospital lockdowns.
Yes.
I wasn't able to get diagnosed. I wasn't allowed to go inside. Anytime I'd make an appointment to go try and get in,
Yeah.
they would send a nurse in full hazmat suit with the mask and the mask.
your
and
house,
glo-
or?
No, this being at the hospital.
Okay, okay.
But I just sat out in the parking lot, and somebody would come out to my truck, a nurse,
Okay. Oh, right.
and she'd give
right.
me a COVID test and then
Right.
piss off.
Okay.
And then I'd get my results. No, you don't have COVID. And it's like, well, I
But
didn't come here for COVID
They
anyway.
wouldn't let you get
But
in for an actual
no,
examination.
I couldn't get in until after all the chaos was over. And the problem is, it all started when I first started getting symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
I was working for a pretty good company. I was supposed to be their finish carpenter, but they had me do a lot of other crap that I wasn't very interested in.
And you were still in the Terrebonne. You've been here for how long?
I've been here for about 8 years.
Okay. Okay.
Feels like longer.
Okay.
We were doing the siding on a bank
Okay.
in Bend. Big, expensive fiber composite pieces it's a lot of work to put them up.
Okay.
And I kept just getting tired for
Okay.
no reason. And I'd always been the guy that I worked everybody else to the ground.
Okay.
I've always had the power to weight ratio of a Ferrari. Not to brag, but
I like that.
Yeah, I can always just go.
Yes.
And yeah, I was never a Mack truck though. I've never been that.
You were a
But
high performance machine.
I was getting times where I'd wake up after a couple of days of hard work. I'm like, dude, I'm wiped out.
Was it just a lack of energy, or was there like
Lack of energy
body aches,
was something.
soreness?
I'd get achy, and my fingers didn't matter how many gloves I had on, because this was January 2020.
Okay.
In the middle of a
Oh.
snowstorm.
Oh shit. Okay.
It was dumping down snow.
Okay.
But we were trying to get the job
Yes.
done.
Yeah. I mean, you have to. If
Which
you're
is
in
ridiculous.
Central
because,
Oregon,
I mean,
you
we
kind of
didn't
have
get
to.
hardly anything done every
you kind
day.
of have to work year round in Central Oregon,
Yeah,
right?
but
You try.
know, when it's a snowstorm,
Yeah.
just use your brain. You're not.
Yeah.
We didn't accomplish anything. Actually, the supervisor told us to put the wrong color in the wrong place, and so we ended up wasting a bunch of time out there anyway because of that idiot. He's a whole nother story. I'm not going there.
No names.
Yeah. So, yeah, I started feeling symptoms of just being worn out and cold all the time. Something wasn't right.
Yeah.
But sickness happens, no big deal.
Right.
But I was missing work from time to time, being
Okay.
sick, and that was when they were sending me in. Hey, go find out what's wrong with you.
Okay.
And I could only get COVID tests, so they fired me.
Oh Jesus.
And well, they did fire me because again, that supervisor, he ended up trying to throw a couple of us under the bus. Well, he actually did
To cover
for
his
for
mistake.
doing something that he'd told us to do.
Yeah.
And so he turned around and said, "No, I didn't. That was all on them."
Yeah.
And I blew up because I'd had a good year and a half of this guy being
yeah.
like that already. And yeah, I said a lot of really, really bad things and
Okay.
lost my job.
But probably fair.
Yeah. And because COVID was still on and everything, I didn't
So
bother.
we're into March with the actual lockdown, or April or something.
I guess this would have been like February.
Oh, okay.
Or later, right? Yeah, because
Okay.
it wasn't that long after that bank thing.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't bother searching for another job or anything. I had big wad of money in my bank account.
Okay.
I wasn't really worried. And at the same time, Melody was having she had a surgery coming up. Where,
Now, Melody is your good friend, and are you guys
Right.
also roommates?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
We're best friends.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
And hopefully she'll be here soon.
Yes.
Anyway, she had her surgery coming up where they were literally going to take her pancreas out of her,
Okay.
take, I don't know, parts of her pancreas somehow and put it in a petri dish. They swirled it around and put it back in her liver. So her liver is now producing insulin.
Oh.
Her liver
okay.
now thinks it's kind of a pancreas as well.
I didn't even know they could do that.
Me
Wow.
either.
I'm
It's
learning
freaky.
shit. Okay.
Incredible.
But
Wow.
she
Incredible.
spent a whole month in this place over in Portland where it's a medical facility, but off site. So
Right.
I was there to take care of her. I was basically her nurse doing all her bandages and everything.
Okay.
So I didn't want to find a job. I needed to take care of Mel.
Yeah.
Then finally got back over on this side of the mountains. Started finding work, doing stuff just around. Get bored even if you are
Right.
yeah,
even if
but-
you're,
yeah.
even if you have
But-
some money.
and I
saved,
was
but-
by then, of course, I was collecting unemployment,
Oh,
so I
right,
could have
right.
been a complete slob.
Well, and also because
But-
now we are in the pandemic, and on the unemployment benefits kept getting better.
Well, I
Yes.
never filed for the
Oh, the-
stimulus checks.
Right.
Well, the thing is, when those started coming out, I was still working.
Okay.
In my redneck pride, I
Yeah.
ain't getting money from Uncle Sam. Piss on you.
Yes.
So I didn't do that. But then when I started working again and really pushing my body, I started getting tired real easy again.
Okay.
And then one day I got this big rash up the inside of my leg.
A red rash. A
Big,
skin,
yeah,
skin
like
rash.
the whole inside of my leg was
Okay.
just like turned red.
Okay.
And the guy that I was working for, because I was like, this is kind of weird. And he's like, I don't think that's a rash. I think that's blood clots.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, maybe I will go into the hospital. And they checked him out. They put me on blood thinners, did a blood test, and sent me on my way. And a while later, had issues starting to come up. Started getting stomach aches and other problems, and it was like that wasn't it.
Did
And
the blood test didn't show what was going on?
No, supposedly not. They did not find cancer in the blood
Okay.
test.
I don't know
Yeah.
how they
And you'd
diagnosed
think-
it, but I would
well,
have
the
thought a
thing is-
blood
Were
test.
they looking though? Did they look?
Obviously,
maybe
they
just-
didn't look
yeah,
for it because they didn't
right.
find it.
Okay.
They just looked for how do we stop these blood clots.
Okay. Got it.
First thing, that's it. Just what's the immediate cure of what I can see.
Yes. Yes.
So they dealt with the blood clots. But eventually I went back in and I said, I think I have an ulcer. You need to scan me.
Okay.
So they finally scanned me, and I waited and I waited and I waited. And they finally came back and said, actually, it's not tumors, it's cancer.
Okay. Where at?
And it was my pancreas.
Okay.
And by then, because it had gone so long, since it had just started moving into my liver as well.
Okay.
But because it was in two organs, there was really nothing they could do surgery-wise. They can't open me up and take them out because the cancer will go rampant when oxygen hits it. I don't understand the whole
that
thing.
actually makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. That's what all the doctors keep saying.
Right.
So basically, I have to do it with meds.
Yes.
Came back into this side of town. Or,
Back to Central
yeah.
Oregon.
When I first found out here in Central Oregon. Then I went over to Portland, talked to the specialist over there who checked him again.
Okay.
And he said, you're looking at 3 to 6 months to live.
Oh, Jesus.
I then came back here. The first doctor I talked to started talking about, okay, we can do this and this to keep you comfortable. And I said, whoa, time out. Stop right there. That's defeatist talk.
Yeah, yeah.
We haven't tried shit.
Right.
Hit me with everything you got.
Yes.
And I was sick as a dog for first half year,
Okay.
but I went into remission.
Oh, so I'm assuming chemo and radiation?
Chemo, I don't know, not the radiation, because that makes you completely lose your hair, right? I lost a lot of hair.
I thought the
but
chemo
I don't think they did
was,
radiation.
but I don't know.
It was a really harsh chemo treatment.
Okay.
And I have this pump that's under my skin that every 2 weeks they'd plug me into that, and I'd get my medication there from that, and then they'd hook me up to a pump that I would take home that would be attached to me for 2 more days, slowly pumping chemicals
slowly
into me.
feeding it. Okay.
Right. And for like 2 years I was in remission.
Okay.
But
let's
then,
go back to where they were like, and you're like, no, wait, we haven't even fucking tried anything. So
Yeah.
I'm not just giving up. Let's do something to treat this.
Yeah, that was pretty silly. I didn't really appreciate that mentality.
And this was at the Portland.
That was
location.
here in here in Redmond.
Okay. And then, so what's the next step?
That
They finally said, yeah, we'll do what we can.
Well, they'll do whatever I tell them, whatever treatment I want.
Yeah.
And I told them, hit me with your hardest. But that eventually got to where it wasn't working all that well, and the cancer was not just coming back in my pancreas and my liver, and half my pancreas is also dead. It's just dead tissue.
Okay.
And that'll come back up again.
Okay.
And a spot had moved to the very bottom tail of my lung.
Shit. Okay, it's spreading.
So it was like, okay, this treatment's not working anymore. They moved me to a different one that's actually supposed to be milder, but it beat the living crap out of me when I took it. I was throwing up and really sick, and by the time I was normally, I'll do the treatment, I'll feel crappy for a few days, and then I'm good for the rest of the time. I mean, I'm not good
until the next treatment.
Yeah, I'm not throwing up and sick.
Right.
Until I hit another treatment run. This time I was crappy until the next run.
Oh.
And then I got crappier.
Oh shit. Okay.
And that's kind of how that new one just hit me. And that worked up until this last couple weeks ago.
Okay.
When I ended up in the hospital.
Okay.
And that's
it is. And I remember I had this thought when I saw you at the hotel before the concert a few weeks ago. You're still here. This is the Jason I remember. Other than obviously physically,
right.
All that, but you, mental state, your attitude seems great, as good as it can be, obviously. Right. But
I've never been one to wallow.
This is the Jason that I went to high school with.
Everybody gets a different life. And you got to make the best of it, even if it's crappy.
And that's
not that my life's crap. Well, cancer's crappy,
no,
but the rest of my life's good. I've got a lot of great people.
But that takes a lot of courage to keep this upbeat, positive attitude, no matter what. I love that. And I want to circle back to something you said. You mentioned that your redneck stubbornness. What is so funny is back in high school, I never thought of you as a redneck. You weren't.
Never came
you were
out
the
after
alternative.
I was I was the gothic
punk.
weirdo.
But he did. I don't agree with that. He did used to say that early on. He was saying that to me early on.
You weren't the weirdo.
I heard that word redneck when he was younger.
Okay.
I heard that
my
word,
dad,
but he
my
didn't look like
grandpa,
one.
my
He didn't look like
uncle.
it. But maybe you did say it more about your family members
I have
than
redneck
yourself.
gleanings.
Okay, maybe you did say it more about your family, and now you're saying about yourself. That's the change.
Okay.
But I heard the word from you.
I've definitely accepted that I've got redneck in me, and I'm proud of it.
Well, no, it's absolutely.
Rednecks are some ingenious people.
Yes,
they can
they
do
are.
anything.
It's
nothing.
It's just funny that you describe yourself because again, I hadn't seen you in 34 years since a few weeks ago, but I remember, and I had these memories
Back then,
too.
It was Mohawk.
Remember
and combat boots.
Who was it? And I think this was when we were at Ackerman, because I lived off a township near the church that had the BMX track. Was that Ed Netter's family? Who was the family that lived there that had the BMX track?
That was Reese and Winston Fairbrother.
Oh. I guess I got the names
And they didn't really
wrong.
own it. That plot actually was owned by the church.
Oh, I thought it was the
And
house
the
next
church,
to it.
no, that plot was owned by the church.
Oh.
And along with some of the farmland behind.
Oh.
And they just let
That
one
is so
day.
funny because I've had this guilt complex ever since we kind of reconnected. Like I remember, I was several blocks away in a duplex, and I would just ride my bike down there, and then I discovered that you were there and some other friends that we went to school
I
with.
lived right
But
across the street from it.
But because I would go to that church and shoot, they had a basketball hoop, so I would play. But then all of a sudden I was like, oh, there's a BM, and I would just see people randomly, on. I was like, oh, maybe I'll just try it.
Yeah, nobody cared.
As a thoughtless, 12, 13-year-old kid, it didn't occur to me that this might be private property and I should ask permission before I just start riding on this BMX track. But I remember you guys were there and you were like, yeah, you're cool, you can ride on it.
I used to smash up my go-kart on that track.
I always thought it was something that was built and owned by the house next to it, not the church.
Yeah, no.
But it was
Reese
church
and Winston, I mean, they both raced almost professionally.
Yeah.
So they were on it all the time. That
right.
was their thing.
I thought it was their family.
But there were several kids that were there all the time.
Yep.
That worked on it all the time. It started off, one of the buddies had a dad who had a bulldozer.
That's how
and
they built
he pushed around the first big beams and everything.
Okay.
But after that, it was all just us with shovels and stomping the
now
dirt
I feel
down
even
and trying
worse
to curve.
because
we'd take kids and just roll back up and down jumps to try and get the right curve to it.
Because now looking back again, the arrogant presumption or just the naivete of a 12, 13-year-old boy that thinks it's okay to just start, I'll just start fucking riding on this. I don't have to ask. I'm like, why not? I have
But
this guilt.
back
I'm
in the
gonna have
day,
talk
we
to
were
my
allowed to.
therapist.
Back in the day,
Yes.
things were a little bit more open, and we could do
Yeah.
those things. I mean, we were all a little bit more open and feral.
And obviously, now that I know it was the church, they didn't care, But now I feel bad that I didn't contribute to building it. I just wrote on it.
Sad thing, when they started building houses, that plot actually didn't get sold, along with the houses that got built in that
Yeah.
area, but it got bulldozed on accident when they were prepping. It could have been left there. I found that out, and I was like, that could have been right there for all the kids. Because I mean, geez, I poured my life in. I poured my blood all over that
So
place.
somebody was trying to excavate the lot next to it,
Right,
and
the
for
one
some reason,
behind that actually
they
off
thought
the
they were
street.
just supposed to do that lot.
Yep. And they just flattened the whole thing.
What a fucking tragedy.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I went driving through years later and was like, where's the track? And Buddy told me the story, and it's like, man. So I poured like a good 5-6 years at least of my life.
That was a cool
track.
fucking track, man. Okay, let's go back to high school then. Yeah, I guess you would call it gothic. I was almost thinking like alternative
That's
punk,
why I tried
but
to
I
do
don't know.
a lot of silver, a lot of black.
Yeah,
a lot of
black.
layers.
You had trench coat, I think.
Yeah, I definitely
and
had the black trench coat,
pants.
combat
Chain
boots,
metal.
a lot of chains.
Chain metal was
Yeah,
awesome.
there
His
we
back,
go.
whole
I
back, chain
suppose I
metal
did
was
have a
awesome.
bit more punk
Oh,
than
the
just
full
gothic.
army boots, like the whole. No, he was pretty
Yes,
punk.
yes.
Beret.
Absolutely, this is
Yeah,
all coming back to me.
He was hardcore punk rock.
Oh my gosh! So
That was good stuff.
Yeah.
you touched on it before we started recording. You actually enlisted in the reserves before you finished high school.
When I was a junior,
Oh wow!
I was the first year that they've ever done it, and shame on the Army for doing it.
Okay, you have a
What they're
story to
doing
tell
is
there.
catching you when you're young and
When
dumb.
you're vulnerable.
When you're still thinking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the time period of like Full Metal Jacket and Platoon and movies.
Yes.
Like, so it was like, hey, I mean, I was pumped when I saw those, and I know it's messed up to want to go try it yourself, but I
Well,
wanted to be challenged.
It's a 17-year-old brain.
So
I mean,
I was like, the instant I was allowed, I signed up, and I went in to the recruiters, and Mom and Dad, of course, had to be part of it at
Okay.
17. And I was like, look, I'm actually looking into engineering because I've been studying engineering.
Did
I've
you
been
do the
studying
drafting
architecture.
class with Mr.
Yeah,
Romero?
yeah.
Yes, I remember that. Okay.
And so I was like, I'd like to take that further. He's like, well, we have this kind of engineering. I didn't really understand what he was saying, and this kind, and they gave me a bunch of pamphlets, and I was like, okay, well, I'll sign up as an engineer.
Is that what
But
you
as
actually
soon
got?
as I got in, I went from engineer to bridge crewman.
The
All you're doing is putting together Army pieces that are made to just, it's a ribbon bridge.
like a prefab thing?
Yeah,
Just-
we take our trucks, we drive them to the water, drop these big, huge things in the water
Yep.
that fold out,
Yes.
and then we use boats to push them together
Okay.
and just lock them up and make a river. And it's
Got
really
it.
fun. I actually ended up in the bridge crew,
Okay.
or the boat crew, which was quite fun because I got to drive these twin turbo massive engines.
Yes.
Yeah, they were fun boats, and we used to take the boats out on the Columbia
Yeah.
when there was nothing to do back at home or back at the barracks, and we'd just go crazy with it.
That's awesome.
That would be our.
So how
our
many years?
weekend.
How many years in?
6 years, but it
Okay.
was just the reserve. So
Right,
I don't
right.
really
No,
think
well,
of it
don't say just.
Yeah, well, I do think of. I never had to go to war. I'm so thankful
Right.
for.
Yes.
I never truly did
Oh, 'cause
what
you were
what
in-
you think of as a veteran.
You were technically in the reserves during the first Iraq thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
but you didn't
and
have to go over.
Well, again, bridge crewman. Not a lot of need for bridges over there.
That's right. It's desert. It's not a lot of water.
Right. But what they were actually talking about dropping our equipment off of our trucks and putting flatbeds on them.
Okay.
So I may have ended up just being a truck driver over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that came and went so fast. I mean, let's face it, that was just a commercial to show off our new military equipment. That was when the Humvee first came out.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that was the first conflict we'd ever used the Humvee in, the Gulf War.
I didn't know
I'm
that.
pretty sure it was
Okay.
the Gulf.
Yeah. 92.
And then right after that, Hummers and all.
Sorry, I guess
yeah.
it was 90. No.
Yeah, 90 or 91.
91.
No, because I was still,
Summer of 91?
I think it was 90 or 91.
No,
I
I'm
don't-
sorry, it was 90 because it was
Yeah,
right after
I'm no
right after we
historian.
graduated. Yes.
But I
Okay.
do remember watching that, and our readiness went up a couple of levels. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, all the new equipment that we had, we just rolled right over everything in the way.
Yeah, because wasn't that over in like a week?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe 2.
Well, let's invite. Since we're talking about this time period, how did you and Tina meet?
Right around that same time period in high school. That would
Well, but
have
you
been.
didn't go to Canby though.
No, so I have a different way of. You want me to say how I?
Go right
met?
ahead. I've been blabbing enough. I'd like
So-
to take a break.
All right, we met in a friend's house, a mutual friend's random friend, not a close friend. It was one of my friend's girls. He was kind of trying to date, and so I walked into the room, and there he was, and I was like, "Wow!"
And you were like,
this-
"Oh my God!"
He actually no, I kind of
He's
was.
still my beating heart.
He was so cute. He was so cute, and it actually no, it really no. He's okay. He's heard it. He's fine. Mike is not jealous. It's what I asked him not to be. So that's not there. We care. It's not like that.
I know. I'm just playing.
But no, I actually did see him, and he was so cute, and I was like, oh my God, there's this guy over there, and there's all these people in the room, and I actually did notice him as of everyone, but we didn't date for a few more months. Like we became friends, and
Right.
we were friends with groups and people around, and
And
then
I'm sorry. Where did you go to high school?
I went to high school at San Barlow in
Oh, okay,
Gresham.
okay. Got it. Yeah, I know where
But
it's at. Yeah.
I lived in Damascus.
Okay.
So, but they still booted us all the way out there.
Got it.
So, but we just met, like I said, in Oregon City at a
Okay.
friend's house in Oregon City.
Yeah.
A friend's house, Oregon City, in her base or in her attic room that was painted black because we were all gothic
She
at that
wasn't
point.
just gothic. She was a vampire.
No, I wasn't.
Not you. The friend.
Oh, the other
Sorry
friend. I was like, what are you
Christina.
talking about?
Did Christina like file her incisors down?
She
No, I'm
didn't go
kidding,
that
I'm
far,
kidding.
but there was one night, it was just she and I in her room, and she just had a red light bulb turned on.
Okay. As
And-
you would if you're a vamp.
Yes, of course. And for some stupid reason, she had a razor that you shave with.
Okay.
Just the 2-blade, of course,
yeah,
wasn't
just a
these
big
modern
razor.
fancy ones. And it was broken, and so one of the blades was like sticking straight out.
I don't know if I like where this is going.
Yeah, well, she's
Go ahead,
like
go
going
ahead.
vampire and how going on, how she needs blood and blah blah blah. I mean, she was acting like an idiot. I was like, here, go ahead. And she's like, I'll do it. And I was like,
shit.
go ahead.
Oh shit.
Well, she obviously was thinking that I'd pull my arm away. And she didn't know me all that well. So she swiped at me like that, and it for a moment or two in that red light, you couldn't tell. And then blood just started pumping everywhere.
Was it just on your forearm?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
You still have a scar? No, I'm
yeah,
kidding.
I think it's that one.
Okay.
I don't actually. Maybe it doesn't matter. But yeah, I mean, blood started going everywhere.
And was she like, what
her
the
eyes
fuck?
went
You didn't
4
pull it?
times bigger. Scream bloody murder, went running down her stairs.
Oh my God.
Her sister ran up, took a look, went screaming down the stairs. And I mean, while they're bleeding all over her floor, going, "Didn't you want this? Hello?"
Like, aren't you a vampire?
Yeah.
You should be like out of control,
Probably cured-
sucking my
I
arm.
actually believe years later she's now like totally preppy and everything.
Okay.
So that may have cured her.
You know where she's at?
No, I don't know her now, but like 10,
Okay.
15 years
But,
later, you still hear about people.
Oh, so you might have fixed
this-
her.
it's
Your
possible.
sacrifice fixed her.
Yeah.
All right. High five
I mean,
to that.
just put some duct tape on it.
you
closed it up like any
sacrificed
redneck.
some blood to save her.
And I mean, it's good to bleed a little anyway. You get a little fresh blood. But yeah, that didn't go as well as she thought it would.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious. All right, so you guys meet at this house party, hang out, become friends for several months or whatever, but at some point, this incredibly cute guy that you met
I had a party, a very, very big party.
Like at your house,
My
or?
parents were going out of town, and they
of
left their
course.
16-year-old daughter at home by
What
themselves.
could possibly go wrong?
And with the car and the house and everything. And so I threw the biggest party you have ever seen.
In
it was
Damascus?
big.
In
in
outside
Damascus.
of Damascus? Okay.
Or wasn't that the biggest one? Or were you at that? No, maybe it
I
was.
was at one of your
Okay,
parties. I
maybe
don't
it
know
wasn't
which
the
one.
biggest. That one may not have been the biggest. That might have been the second
There were
biggest
a lot
I
of
threw.
people there.
I threw big parties. And he happened to come to the party, and then we just kind of,
Yeah. There was a
we just
magic,
It
as they say.
happened, and then we started dating.
Okay, got it.
It was there.
Okay, and eventually you did get married.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a
Okay.
long time later. I mean,
After-
wow,
Right.
Yeah.
2.5 years.
Okay.
2.5 years.
Yeah. And then we were together for another 6 after that. Months, that is.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
This is correct.
I will add to that party, most of the gals that I've ended up with, I've had, 6, 7 relationships that have lasted 3 years.
Right.
One that was 8.
Okay.
Most all of them made the first move. I'm actually quite shy when it comes to the whole dating
I
thing.
could see that. Even back then, I could
Yeah.
see that.
But with Tina, I actually, when it came time, people were starting to fall asleep in places. I just took it upon myself to go climb in her bed and wait for her to go to bed.
Nice.
So I got to say that you're one of the few that I
So
took
for
the first
once,
move with.
for one time, you were assertive.
Yes.
That actually makes
Yeah.
sense
She was only the
because I've
third gal.
always
yeah.
been that way.
I always been
but
too
it-
shy,
And it
which
doesn't
is why
change
I,
a minute. It hasn't changed a minute.
I was out of high school before the first time I ever had sex.
Me too. Yeah. That's a funny story. I'm not. Never mind. I'll tell you off mic because everybody knows it's funny. But so you guys talking before, you did live in Spain
Yep.
for a while. Was
Yeah.
that when you were together?
No,
No.
that
Okay,
was long
okay.
after.
No.
So I don't want to. Is there some other stuff we need?
I had
to
No, there's
several-
not much of us.
Okay.
Nope,
I
we're
had a
now
couple of
friends. Like
long
now we're both
relationships.
friends.
How did
Yeah.
you end up? Oh, you ended up in Spain because of your.
My ex.
But were you married to her or just a relationship?
No, it was just a relationship
Okay,
where we
okay.
moved together.
But you met
Well,
her.
we never got married. Tina's the only one I ever actually
You
married.
met her here, and then
Yes.
after a couple of years here, you guys both moved.
Right.
She's from Spain, is that right?
She's British-born Iranian.
Okay.
And she'd spent her teenage years living in Spain because that's her parents had built
She
a
had
house
family
there.
there.
Yeah, her parents.
Okay, got it. So how long were you in Spain for?
13 years.
Did you learn Spanish?
No, not really. Well, I mean, I did. I learned what I needed to go into restaurants, hardware stores,
function.
things like that. I could get around, but I couldn't speak any philosophy or do. I couldn't sit and do this.
Okay, got it.
Within 3 minutes, I would get so flustered that my brain would be exploding.
Okay, got
And
it.
the big problem is I never really got to be pushed because where I was living, half the population were foreigners, either from France or Germany or Great Britain, and they all spoke English.
Okay.
So there was more English there
Oh,
than
so
you'd find.
it wasn't a
yeah.
handicap to not be totally fluent. You could
No.
still.
I actually got work because of it, because there were a
Okay.
lot of those people that didn't speak any English.
Oh, okay.
I had one guy, a client of mine, who had lived there 25, 30 years, and he could say cerveza, but that was about it.
That's it. Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's an important word to know in Spanish.
It is.
I
It certainly
think
is.
so. Sometimes it
But
is.
one would think that after that amount of time, you'd give it a try.
Yeah.
My big thing, I guess I could go back. I always try, I guess I kind of blame it on this, but it's not. It's something that, when I was in 3rd grade in Woodburn, I had,
you weren't at Philander Lee in 3rd grade?
not for 3rd grade.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was in Eagle Creek
Okay.
between Woodburn and Canby.
Okay.
But I had a Spanish teacher that nobody knew about it until, actually, I told Mom and she put a stop to this. But I had this Spanish teacher that basically tortured the kids.
Whoa.
If you got in trouble, you got sent to this closet area where you just sat in a stool in
Wow.
the dark.
Wow.
And he was screaming and yelling the whole time in Spanish.
Dude.
And like, I don't know, 6, 7 months is what that went on. And eventually I told Mom about this, and she went and listened one time outside the window of the classroom,
So she was a witness.
and then went and got the principal of the school,
Yep.
took him out there and had him stand there for a while.
Good.
And next thing you know, that guy was out.
Yeah.
But that was actually my first introduction to a foreign language, was this belligerent, horrible
So
man
in
screaming at
a
me.
very negative context, unfortunately.
Right.
Jesus.
But really, a big part of why I had difficult learning Spanish
Yeah,
is
there's-
because I'm dyslexic.
Oh, okay.
I mess
Yeah,
up
that'll
words,
Make
so
it,
I-
'cause that makes
yeah.
it that makes it hard to know English, let alone a second
One would
language.
think I'm a brilliant reader, can't write for shit.
Oh.
When I was in 3rd, 4th grade, I was already reading college
So you have
material.
no trouble reading the written word, but if you wanted to,
Yeah.
if you wanted
I
to
can't
become
read it out loud though, because
your head.
my mouth starts
Yes,
going too
yes,
fast,
yes.
and I'll start spitting out all the words at the same time.
Okay, but then if you actually tried to, whether it's, does it make a difference if you're handwriting or using a keyboard? Is one easier than the other?
Well, it's easier on the keyboard because it always corrects me nowadays.
Thank God for technology.
Yeah, but I never really used a keyboard back then. Anytime I'd write something, it would
was
be by hand.
handwritten.
Yeah.
But it was easier to read than actually handwrite.
Oh yeah, if I'd write something down, you'd see pretty much every sentence would have at least one word that was
In the wrong
jumbled
place.
incorrectly.
Okay, got it. So, come back from Spain. That obviously ended. What year are we talking about that you came back to the States?
The whole Spain thing.
Yeah, whatever you want to share.
And, well, really, I was thinking Mel was going to be here, so I'd throw her into the mix because Mel's happened before Spain.
Oh, you met Mel before?
I met Mel right after Tina.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
So
right
let's,
after
let's
Tina
get
and I
that
broke up.
on camera. So how did you and Mel meet?
Well, after Tina and I broke up, I went back to Canby.
Okay.
And very first thing when I got back, of course, you go looking for your buddies.
Yeah.
And Steve Gregeroff
I remember him.
was at
Yes.
home still.
Yes.
And so he and he'd just redone the interior in his Honda.
Okay.
So he had a couple old seats. And we just set these old seats in the garage door,
Yeah.
just watching cars drive by, and we'd drink a beer.
Nice.
And within a week, people were stopping by, and it was starting to turn into the party place.
Where is this? This is in what
This
part
is
of
in
Canby?
Right in the middle, not far from the high school, I think.
Okay. That's so fucking
yeah.
hilarious. On one of those side
It's one of those
streets.
spots where you got to zigzag to get
Yes.
to.
Yes.
Back then, you got to zigzag to everything nowadays.
Right.
But Mel was his neighbor across the street.
Okay.
And I suppose it's long enough now that I can't get in trouble for this, so I'll say.
Oh shit! Here we
Yeah.
go. The statute of limitations is up.
Right. I actually I'd see her across the street and stuff. She'd come over and talk from time to time. No big deal. Just some gal. And then I ran into her at the 7-Eleven one day when I was out with Andy Lohr.
Yeah, Andrew Lohr.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so we took them into Portland and went to the city.
Okay.
Because, I mean, I knew she was, I'd asked Steve by then, and he told me she was 17.
Oh, she
So
was young. She's younger than us.
Yes.
Okay.
And so we went there because that's someplace she could go into.
Right.
But I mean, still legal because I wasn't that much older.
That's fine.
Right. Well, anyway, took her there, then went back to town, no big deal, nothing happened. And eventually, through the parties and stuff, something did happen.
Okay.
And
Is she from Canby?
yeah, she's from right across the street from Steve.
Oh, geez. So she went to Canby High School.
I believe so. Not again, she's younger.
But she's younger.
so,
Yeah.
we wouldn't
Okay,
have known
got
her.
it. Got it. Okay.
And so, eventually, as dudes do, I told Steve. He's like, "Dude, she's 15."
17.
And I went, "What the fuck are you talking about?
You said 17.
You said 17."
Oh,
No, I meant her sister. What sister? She doesn't have a sister. I'd never met no sister. I had no idea she even had a sister.
okay. I didn't
So,
even.
yeah,
I didn't
he
even
told me
realize
the
you
wrong
guys.
sister.
I didn't even realize you guys were ever intimate. So, okay.
that was really how Mel and I first kind of got a relationship that's more than
Okay.
just a hey, how you.
Right.
But of course, it ended not long after that, and that's when I
Right.
started dating Diane Dietering.
Oh,
which lasted
from
for
our
3
class.
years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were together for 3 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Stuff I didn't know. Okay.
And actually, her sister is the first person I ever slept with.
I'm sorry, Diane. I can't edit this out. I don't know that these people.
She won't care.
These people
She knows
didn't
the
give
story
us
already.
permission to talk about them. You're fine.
But I know.
And by the way, I don't have any viewers anyway, so
You never know. Something weird might
eventually I
happen.
want to be Rogan, but I'm not there yet. So
It might take a little while. He did put in his time to get there.
That's right.
yes,
That's
he
right.
did. He
That's
did.
And you got to get a bit famous in like MMA. Or
Well,
something
and
as
again, we talked about the origin of it before, but again, this is a passion project for me. I am not trying to make. I don't care. I'm doing this because it seems it's something important. I don't advertise it. I don't try to promote it. Other than I'll share it when I do a podcast with somebody. I'll share it with the people that should see it.
Of course.
But yeah, I'm not. If it eventually brings me some money, that's bonus. That's great.
Yeah, but you wouldn't expect it to happen.
No.
It's just like being
Costco pays me
it's
well.
Just like being
I'm
a
good.
musician. Learn to play
Yes.
because you love to play.
Yes.
Not because you expect to be
Oh
up
my
on
gosh.
stage making millions.
This is
someday,
why I
'cause
don't
you're
script
probably
it.
not
so,
going to.
do you play?
No, not at all. I can't.
You never
I've
have?
always wanted to.
You
but
look
I
like,
have.
especially in high school, you
see
look
my
like
club thumbs?
you look like a musician,
I'm
especially in
either-
high school.
I could have. They talk about thumbs for bass.
Yeah.
So maybe there.
You could have been a good slap bass guy.
Right. But I never. My sister Trudy, 6 years older than me, was a
Okay.
musical genius. She could
Okay.
pick up
Any
any instrument you blow into.
Oh, wow.
And she could just start playing like she'd been playing it for years.
That's amazing.
And I, of course, as a kid, I'd pick it up and it sounded like I was just blowing through an empty pipe. And it was kind of frustrating to watch her do that. And then as kids, we of course ended up with a guitar at the house.
Yeah.
But it never got tuned. Nobody ever taught us. So it was just like plunk,
Right,
plunk,
right.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
It was more fun to go out and climb trees and jump
Yes.
through mud and swim in
So
rivers.
Trudy, where's Trudy at?
She's living in Bend now.
Oh, that's so random. Okay, and obviously if she was 6 years, she was class of '84.
I guess so.
That was my brother. My brother Wes was class of '84.
Really? They
That
probably
is
know
so
each other.
random. I'll text him after we're done and say, do you know Trudy Marquis?
Yeah, back then.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Oh, she's married now, so
course.
different last name.
Right.
But how long has she been in Bend?
30, 40 years
Oh,
or I
Judas
don't know,
Priest.
long time.
Oh my gosh. I'm staying the night in Bend. I almost want to reach out to her tomorrow and just have coffee and say hi. Okay. Anyway.
She works at a 7-Eleven. She loves working there.
Okay.
And she works the night shift.
So she
loves it,
sleeps
the
in.
weirdos
She
and stuff.
she sleeps in.
And then all day long she sleeps.
Nice. Oh my gosh, that's just random. But anyway, God, I lost track of this. You don't play any instruments because of your thumbs.
Yeah. Well, and my lack of patience for that.
It does take patience. That's what I learned because my story on the guitar. I have previous experience from decades ago, but when the pandemic hit and we all had to fucking stay home so much time, my mom like 10 years earlier had bought me an acoustic guitar and I just left it in the closet. And then when the pandemic hit, and thank God for technology, you can just go on YouTube and find a guitar tutorial for any song you want to learn. And I knew the basic 4 chords, so I'll find a video of how to play this song, and literally 30 to 45 minutes a day. It's if you do that every single day, within 6 months you could probably play a show. So I wasn't that consistent, but we're 4 years now later, and I'm playing open mics. I can actually sing and play. I'm doing
Sweet.
it. But it took 4 fucking years to get where I'm at. So
I'm
I
surprised
understand.
it didn't take longer.
I understand you're like, I don't have the patience for that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was one of those kids that everything came easy to me.
except
And I
music.
would
And
jump
as
in
a
this,
result-
that's true. Everything, like literally your woodwork, anything you did artistically. If I tried to do something artistically, he would do it 10 times better. He would do woodwork that was like, it was the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, and throughout his entire life.
And that's
I
not
have-
frustrating at all for you.
No, well, I mean,
I'm
no, it was
kidding,
only
I'm
a short-lived
kidding.
thing. It was only a
Totally.
short-lived thing back then. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know.
No, I've always been extremely excited for his abilities, and I always talk about it. When I talk about Jason, I talk about anything he touches turns to beauty.
So
It's
let's talk
unbelievable.
about that, because obviously, remembering you from high school, I had no idea that you would even be into the whole construction woodworking thing. Was that something
Well,
always?
I wasn't so. Well, I suppose at home I did things. The brief month that I spent going up to school in Alaska, we built a shed up there.
You went to school in Alaska like
Just
after
for-
high school?
No, it was the freshman year, the summer after. I went up there and worked at my aunt's guide service. And because of
Okay.
the time that I was going up there, school was still on for another month.
Okay.
So I had to go to school up there from the last month
Oh.
of my freshman year.
What was that like?
It was kind of unique, being that at that point I was just getting into my new wave phase. I wasn't
Okay.
punk yet.
Right.
But I was just starting. To them, I was weird as could be, because they're redneck up there. Kids ride quads to school.
Yes,
or snowmobiles if the snow's out, of
Yes,
course.
yes.
But, I mean, they're rednecks, and God bless them.
And here comes the alternative
Then
guy.
here comes this weirdo listening to The Cure and echoing the Bunnymen. And they were just like, dude, what the fuck is this? But they were really accepting and
That's
great
cool.
people about it. They had no animosity about it whatsoever.
So they were just like, wow, this is different, but
yeah.
they were welcoming.
The biggest difference is that the school, it was for grades 1 through 12,
Yes, of course.
and they had 120 students.
in the entire, the graduating class was like 40 people. Something
Probably
like that.
something like that.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
not even
Oh my
smaller.
gosh.
The track and field track was just this dirt and gravel thing with
Yes.
weeds in it, but they had an indoor swimming pool.
Wow.
Beautiful big indoor swimming pool.
That's impressive,
So we just,
actually.
a lot of what we did was just swimming laps for gym class.
Wow. But you were up there in the summer, so it wasn't
Right.
it wasn't snowed over,
No,
obviously.
not at all. The sun was
Okay.
up all day long, and I was
What
working
part of
my
what
ass
part of
off.
Alaska?
A little teeny place called Happy Valley.
What's
down
it,
on
what's
one
it
of
next to? Is it on the
it's,
illusion part? Or I'm sorry,
big one
not
on
the
top.
illusion part, the part that goes down, the
Yeah,
slim
it's,
part
it's the
by
little
Canada.
part that comes down inside
Yes.
inside that little.
Yep,
Well,
yep.
not little, but that.
But yeah, it's the part that trails down into Canada, kind of.
Right.
That thin
I
part.
believe so. Geez, I'm missing the map in my head right now.
I know. I think
I totally
remember
see
it.
the place though, because it was just. I mean, all the rocks on that beach were skipping rocks. It's cool, so you could just,
perfectly formed.
Yeah, I mean, just nice, round,
Oh my
flat.
God.
Me and the other kid that worked there as helpers would go out with our hip waders on and we'd skip rocks back and forth to each other, catching them.
Wow, that's awesome.
It was pretty
so
fun.
you had to do a month school, but then you spent the summer
And then,
working.
the summer was working
Working in
for
construction.
my aunt. Just cleaning boats, gutting fish.
Oh shit.
Cleaning
okay.
the fish gutting area, packaging fish to be sent off to
Okay.
to the people that come up there, because a bunch of rich people would come up there at the guide service.
Right.
Digging latrines, and I mean, she worked me like a fucking donkey.
It's good for
I
you.
learned to never work for family. Well, the whole deal was I was supposed to get a plane ticket up there and back,
Okay.
and she'd give me $100 a week.
Okay.
And I'd be working maybe 4 or 5 hours a day.
It
I'd have the
didn't-
weekend off.
Didn't work out that way.
I worked all 7 days a week, 12 to 16 hours a day. I was exhausted.
That's called character
Yeah.
building.
And when it came up, the worst part about, and she tried to give me $50 a week instead. The big to-do happened about that is Mom was up there doing the cooking. So Mom was at least there to talk out for me, because I was just a little kid.
Right.
And the worst part about it, though, was when it came time to go back home. Finally, my summer up here is done. Get home, see my buddies, do some BMXing or skateboarding, whatever.
And you're coming back in August then?
And this
or-
would be into the summer.
So before
going-
school starts
yeah, just
down here.
before, right.
Okay.
And I ended up, because they were moving down to Colorado, I ended up stuck in a car with my mom, my aunt, and my grandma driving the Alaskan highway for 3 days.
So no plane ticket.
No plane
you
ticket.
had to drive.
I was stuck in the back seat of a car.
That must be amazing.
Yeah.
I can imagine the.
Oh, look, another sheep.
I can
Oh,
imagine.
look, another sheep.
I can imagine the conversations must have been so stimulating to your adolescent mind.
It was a blast. I had my headphones. That was
Thank
it.
God for
I-
Walkmans. Thank God for
A
Walkmans.
Walkman. A
Yeah,
Walkman
a
with a
Walkman.
cassette
Walkman.
tape with
Yep,
real
with
headphones.
actual
Yes.
little speakers attached to your ears.
Yes, kids. We used to actually have to have a boat anchor that you put a cassette in and wired headphones. We didn't have earbuds back then, and nothing was Bluetooth.
And it wouldn't even switch over sides. You had to take
You
the
had to
tape
manually
out, flip
take
it
it to
over,
the other side.
put it back in.
And don't pull it out, or you have to rewind
Yeah, not
it.
when it's playing. Otherwise, you destroy it.
Oh
or
my
you have to get a
God.
pencil and put it back together.
Yes. Okay, so come back, but let's get back to where you always had the interest in woodworking. But how did you start learning and developing these skills?
Well, it was in the architecture class that I took.
Right.
I
with
actually,
no, I'm sorry,
Mr. Romero.
but he was drafting.
Drafting,
did
yes.
Did he also?
But he
teach?
did the architecture as
I
well.
didn't know that.
The thing
okay.
with that is, the first year they're there as a freshman.
Yeah, I took
it's
his class.
drafting.
Yes.
Next year it steps up something more. And so
Oh.
actually, by my senior year, I'd actually taken a couple of college courses of drafting through him, because I just hammered on the architecture.
Because
stuff.
I remember I took at least 3 years of Romero, but at some point we had to use the thing to build a house. Remember the physical?
Those plans, I was one of the
Yes.
guys that drew them.
Oh my gosh. Okay. It's got.
But
I
yeah,
hadn't
didn't
thought
do
about
any
that in a
real
while.
building stuff at school though. I really wish I would have done mechanics. That's the thing that I really wish I'd have done.
Like the automotive,
to know,
the
yeah,
shop
to
class
actually
kind
know
of
how to
thing?
rip an engine apart and put it back together.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm trying to do now, and
Yeah.
nobody knows how to rebuild a Hemi 325. Nobody.
There's gotta be a YouTube
I talk
video.
to mechanics around here that
They
their
don't.
name is like Hot Rod Shop, and I go in and like, no, we don't work on engines like that. Well, then rename yourself.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kinda-
Don't advertise
yeah.
it like that.
You're not Hot Rod. You might
That's
make
fine.
fast engines.
But you ended up, and I don't know what this time was. Was it when you came to Central Oregon that you ended up in?
think he would like some.
Hi, can I just grab a pouch? Anybody else want anything?
I'm good with water.
I think I'm okay. Thank you. I think that's better to see.
Did you get into the actual construction thing when you moved to Central Oregon, or were you doing that in the
Well,
valley?
after high school,
Okay.
actually, Andy, Laura, and I were painting together in high school.
Okay.
And I started off as just a painter's helper, but got to the point where I was the sprayer.
Okay.
And I felt like I'd learned everything I could about painting. So I then switched over to roofing with
Dude.
Chris McTavish.
I don't remember that name. Was he our class?
Well, he actually, no, he wasn't in school with us.
Okay.
But he was in the party group
Okay.
that I met Melody with
Okay.
through Steve and Andy Coker and
Got it.
that group. Actually, he and I lived together for a while
Okay.
before life separated us.
But you ended up doing
before I met the gal that
I
took
mean,
me to.
fucking roofing in the summer, dude. That has to suck.
In the summer, everybody talks about it in the summer, but in the winter,
Is it
because
worse?
we also did. This is Oregon,
Yeah.
over in the valley, winter storms, and we did emergency repairs as well.
Oh.
So if we get a call at 2 a.m. and a tree is falling through someone's house,
You
we're
kind of
there
have
with
to answer
chainsaws
it.
and stuff, trying
Just to get the
clear
tree
it
off.
and tarp it and get that house protected as fast as possible.
Get it protected until you can
And
come
until
do the repairs.
come back and fix it.
And you can close it out. Thank you.
So yeah, we had a few miserable nights.
Oh, I'm sure. So your company was like on a call list, an emergency call list.
At times, yeah,
Oh,
not a whole
shit.
lot, but it
But
did
there
happen
were
a few
in
times.
the '90s. There were some fucking windstorms.
Oh yeah, we had a few
Yeah.
interesting times, and
And
of
then-
course, I mean, we'd be out because it's Oregon Valley. You're jumping back and forth between being able to work and the rain.
Yes.
So you got tarps ready, and you got to tarp real fast, and then jump back up when there's nothing there.
Yeah.
So
Damn.
it kept us busy, and I stayed in that job until I became a supervisor, and then got bored.
It wasn't
and-
intellectually stimulating enough.
Well, I learned everything. I mean, you can only put down so many shingles.
Right, and then it gets
Yeah.
repetitive.
I mean, you learn everything you need to know about roofing if you spend just a couple months doing it
Okay.
and truly focusing.
Yeah.
If you're an idiot about it, you'll never learn anything. So,
And
that's
we might
different.
have covered this. How did you end up in Terrebonne, Central Oregon?
Well, that was then after moving back from
Spain.
over in Spain.
Right. Did you land here, or did you go back to the
No, I
valley
landed
first?
over in the valley.
Okay.
My uncle had actually died just before I moved back.
Okay.
And my cousin needed somebody to care for the house, clean it up and everything. And so I moved into my uncle's place at first.
Okay.
The only thing I said was, look, I'll do all the cleaning and everything. I appreciate you letting me stay here, but give me a 2-month warning.
Oh, before you
moving
kick me out,
Yeah.
right.
He gave me a 2-week warning. And then bitched about the house not being perfect when I moved out.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not the best of cousins. My uncle's shop was full of tools, many of which, because they're brothers, my uncle, and,
Right.
and they were doing this brother
Business thing?
business.
Okay.
Them together.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember the name of it, but it just jumbled up.
Probably shouldn't. Since
That
you're
name
complaining
still worked
about
for
him,
me.
we probably shouldn't talk about the name.
But anyway, all of my dad's tools were also out in my uncle's shop.
Okay.
My cousin came and took them all because they were on his father's property.
Okay.
Even tools that had my dad's name like etched into the box. and
Okay.
then-
Okay.
So yeah, there's a bit of animosity there.
No worries. But at
I
some
just had to throw
point,
that out there,
but
but yeah.
you're getting
And then
two-week notice, and something about you
Right. I
had an
moved out of there,
opportunity,
and just as I was moving out of there, Mel and I had met back up.
okay,
And so we moved
reconnected.
in together in an apartment in, where is that place? Just off Portland.
outside of Portland.
One of the big communities that have been built that should never have been along one of the hillsides.
Yes,
Do you
yeah.
remember, did you ever go to Sidewinder's motorcycle track?
No.
Okay, it's right on that hillside where there used to be the motorcycle
Are we talking like
track.
Southwest Portland, off of I-5?
Southeast.
Southeast, off of the
Yeah,
other side of the river. Okay.
Very south.
Okay. Like Milwaukee.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Okay.
I suppose, yeah, Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Why did that blank out? Fuck.
You're fine.
I know. It's just
I
weird.
forget shit all the
I've
time.
been doing that like for the past couple really the whole chemo thing.
Yeah. I'm
Certain
sure it
things,
creates
and
some brain
especially
fog.
names.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like street names.
It's just a brain
I don't have
fog.
a single street name left. I have to really struggle.
Yeah.
I don't really need them much because
Well,
of course
yeah,
we all
it's-
have phones.
Terrebonne's a small
Yeah.
town too,
and,
so
and
you
I
know
don't
where
have
you're
to tell
going.
people. I don't. You never have to give directions anymore.
No, just give me the address
Right.
and I can map it. Yes. But end up in Terrebonne again, reconnected with Melody.
Right.
And how did you end up here?
She ended up moving off with another gal,
Okay.
and I moved here. At first, it was because a friend of my sister's, or actually my brother-in-law, has a machine shop or a shop full of machinery for doing woodworking,
Okay.
and he needed somebody to basically take care of the shop.
What
and do
what
things.
year are we talking about that you first came here?
This was about maybe 9-ish, 10-ish years ago.
Oh, so it was after
years
I
in
was
now?
already gone because I moved back to the Valley in 2002.
All right.
So you were here like in 2015. We're
Yeah.
talking. Okay.
Yeah.
Got
I
it.
moved back from Spain in 2013.
Okay. So 2015 and settled here and have been here ever
Yeah.
since. But you was
Right.
again was
that
it
didn't work out though because the guy was a hardcore alcoholic. He never
Okay.
paid me.
No shit.
And it got to where, I mean, after a month of working for him, and he owed me a bunch of money.
You're like,
and he's giving me $20 here, $20 there. He's like, well, keep your gas going.
yeah.
And so eventually I said, look, I just talked to the Better Business Bureau, and they're pretty sure they can get me my money. Oh, well, actually, I got half of it right here now. I just got it.
It's in my pocket. I just got this.
Yep.
Yeah, I paid this contract.
It
Paid
was
me
like
finally.
that. He paid me off, and it's like, all right, I'm out of here.
Yeah. But you stayed in the area, though.
I stayed in the area, met a gal. Actually, we started off, she needed somebody to live with her because she was having troubles with
Okay.
rent. I needed a place to stay.
Right.
We were kind of playing around anyway because that's just how I end up being with women that I meet.
It's an affliction.
It seems to be. And so I moved in with her, and I started working different jobs. And
Okay, but still in the construction industry.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I worked with my brother-in-law for a while, building big buildings, doing big construction.
Your sister's name again?
Trudy.
Trudy. So with
Right,
her
her
husband.
husband.
Okay, got it.
And then I moved to this other company. Well, actually, then we went down south to California, where I was supposed to superintend an addition onto her brother's house.
Okay.
We got down there. He's like, "Oh yeah, everything's ready. Come on down, come on down." We get down there, and it's like, "All right, let's see the plans." Well, we don't have the plans yet. What do you mean you don't have the plans yet? What the fuck am I doing here if you don't have the plans yet? And he's like, well, they're going to be here any day now,
Jesus.
What it really came down to is he and his family were going on a trip to Hawaii for 3 weeks, a couple days after we arrived, and they wanted house sitters there.
Wow.
That's why he said be there at that time.
Wow. Are you going to pay me to house sit? You better pay me.
No, he didn't, but I found side work right away and
yeah.
I started doing a bunch of repairs, siding repairs and things like that.
Yeah.
I can always find work, but it wasn't nearly the amount that he offered me to be superintendent.
Right.
I became a handyman. And I spent 5 months as a handyman down there waiting for those plans
What
to
part of
show up.
California was it?
Down south, not far from LA.
Okay. So not like NorCal. It
No.
wasn't like
No,
Stockton
it
or
was a
Sacramento.
good drive to get there.
Okay.
And finally, after 5 months, the plans get there, and the architect had messed up. He'd drawn the plot like 80 feet wider than it really was. As a result, most all of the addition was in the neighbor's yard.
Oh, Jesus.
So it was like, okay, I'm out of here.
Wow.
And I gave him a bill for a lot of the time that I missed at my job and everything.
Yeah.
And he grumbled about it. And he's like, okay, well, here's a check. But don't try and cash it for a couple days. And,
Wow.
Okay, sure. Bullshit. I ran right to the bank and went, put this in.
Yes.
And
Fuck
as soon as that came over, and it was like, yep, there it is. All right, we're out of here.
Yeah. It came back to Terrebonne.
Came back up to Terrebonne and
Okay.
went back to work.
Give me the mic real quick. Sorry. Lean in. Mike, lean in. Look at the camera. Lean in.
Hello.
You have to say hi.
Hello.
You haven't been on camera for like 45 minutes, so we just have to acknowledge
yes.
that you're still here.
Still here.
And you're enjoying this.
Keep it like yes. It's great.
All right.
I love it.
You're the man.
Great.
So
He's a voyeurist.
and I just
Just wants to watch.
this just occurred to me actually. We a little bit of history with us. I tried. We kind of tried in the spring. It was your son's birthday in the spring. Remember, we tried to do this podcast, and you
Right.
had that. You had
Talked
planned
about
like a whole 4 or 5 day experience, and the camping and all that shit. And it obviously didn't work out. It was too busy. But you have kids. I don't.
Yeah.
1 or 2.
2.
Okay, can we talk about them?
Of course.
Because I never.
I love talking about
I
it.
never got to connect with you on that trip, but are they both boys?
Yep.
Names?
Thomas and Alexander.
And what are the ages?
15 and 22.
So, and one of them lives in Spain, right? That's the one that was flying
One lives
in?
in Spain and Portugal, back and forth.
But is that the one that was coming in for the
No,
birthday?
that's my 15-year-old that lives in Holland.
Oh, they both live in Europe.
Yes.
Okay. But whose birthday was it that weekend?
That was my
the older
15-year-old.
one. No, the younger one. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. So same from the same mom?
No,
Okay.
no. The gal that's living here in
Hang on, you don't have to share anything you don't want
no,
to.
I'll share it all.
No, that's what I was
And
afraid
then
of.
living here after roofing. I threw my back out roofing. Just one day, 1,000 times. You take a sheet, throw it up on, take a sheet, throw it up. I made that
But then
twist
you,
one day
you
and my
just
neck,
moved
or my
slightly wrong.
Yeah, I just did the exact same thing one too many times, and my back went
Yes.
pop, and I just crumpled to the
Oh,
roof.
ow.
And I was out of commission for a while, and could have again taken money from the government, but I instead took just a lightweight job at the head shop, the Stash,
Okay.
over on McLaughlin.
Oh, in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just worked there, and it was a nice, easy job, no real heavy lifting. And that's where I met Kathy.
Okay.
I actually didn't really meet her. I helped these gals. I didn't pay any attention to them. I was just doing my job. And then, like a half hour later, one of them came back in and asked, "Hey, can I get your phone number for my friend?"
because obviously you're super cute, as we have established.
I guess so. I've never seen it. I've never really seen it. I look in mirrors and I don't fucking get it. I really don't. But whatever. It's worked
Gorgeous,
for me.
gorgeous.
He is
Seriously,
a gorgeous
no,
man.
no.
And
So
Yes,
cute.
I was always so
Curly,
jealous
dark black
'cause
hair.
I was awkward in high school with a bad mullet, but Jason always looked fucking
God,
amazing.
mullet.
Oh, the
You remember
mullets,
the
oh no,
mullet?
but mullets guys were somewhat cool too. I mean, before I did like alternative men better, of course. Definitely liked hot alternative men, but he was, but mullet guys were cool too, and you guys had the
Especially
cool
No, I was
cars,
not cool.
and you had the cool cars.
Do you remember in the late '80s when Richard Marx first blew up? Remember his hair? I was trying to have that kind of a mullet, but mine didn't even look as good as his did. Mine was just awkward and dumb. So
You
no.
just had a bad hairdresser.
Well, I didn't have a hair. Maybe that's part of it. I didn't have one. So.
Yeah, you got to find a professional if you want
Sorry.
things
Anyway,
right.
let's go back to the kids. I should be writing this down. Give me the names again.
Thomas and Alexander.
Okay, Thomas and Alexander, and we're
so
talking
anyway,
about.
I met their mother at that place, and we only talked on the phone for like a couple of weeks. Never really met, because this was right after I'd broken up with Diane.
Okay.
And
Oh,
I was-
Dietering, right? Okay.
Yeah, and I was quite distraught because Diane really was the one that got away from me.
Okay.
We had so much in common. I don't think we ever argued in the 3 years we were together.
God, what's that
I mean,
like?
it was. I don't. Yeah, it was
Sorry.
kind of. It was weird. It was surreal.
Yes.
Yeah, surreal is definitely the way to describe that. But yeah, eventually, I thought, because it kind of bugs me now, because of course I've seen her again since.
Yeah, of course.
I always thought that she broke up with me because I was secretively smoking back then.
Just cigarettes
and-
or pot.
Tobacco.
Oh, okay,
She
yeah,
knew
right,
about
right.
the pot.
Right.
But she didn't approve of the tobacco.
So the pot was cool, which actually makes sense. Pot is
Yeah.
is fine. I mean,
I-
cigarettes are bad.
Smoking weed was such a good thing for me because I went from drinking alcohol and going, hey, let's go get into a fight, to
Right.
smoking weed and going, hey, let's go bake cookies.
No. I don't want to get political, but it is insane that shit's fucking. That alcohol is legal and pot it just became. That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
But anyway, continue.
So talking on the phone with her, I told her, I'm not looking for anyone to date. I don't want a relationship or anything. But I like having friends. I'm not one of those guys that only has buddies. I have a lot of friends that are girls.
Yeah.
I'd love to do stuff with you and just be buddies. And so finally we met up to go hang out at this, I think it was a jazz festival that was going on. Just wander around.
On
see
the
what was
waterfront in Portland? Or
what.
some-
I don't remember where it was.
Okay.
I think it was further into Tualatin.
Okay, got it.
It was, some random place. But it was a big open air place with a lot of music and stuff. And it was
Yeah.
kind of fun. We just kind of acted like buddies. I bought my thing. She bought her thing. It wasn't a date. And got back to her place, and I was dropping her off, and she leaned over and kisses me.
Oh, okay. That was unexpected.
And it wasn't a peck on the cheek. I mean, she just planted her tongue in my mouth. And I left going, what the fuck? But of course, my dick's going, right on. And of course, like Bill Burr says, as always, I did what my dick tells me to. We ended up together.
That's a great line.
And when I first met her, I actually thought that she was Native American.
Okay.
But then later, of course, I find out that she's British-born Iranian.
British.
She was born in Britain.
Okay.
But her family is actually Iranian.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay.
And she's got her dad's nose.
So
which
now I
looked
know who
very-
you're talking about. Okay, got it.
And so yeah, and for 3 years we lived together in Oregon, and she was just another hippie chick.
Right.
Nothing really special about her. But her parents, I knew her parents were posh. Her mom's related to Iranian royalty.
Okay.
Her dad has the world's largest library on Iranian books.
Oh shit.
Attached
okay.
to his house.
So
It's
very
a couple
affluent.
stories tall.
Very affluent, well-to-do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were all cool. After 3 years, she started talking about wanting to go live by them for a few years. I was like, oh, it would be a cool experience, go live over there for a couple
fuck
years.
yeah.
And so, and they were like, oh yeah, come on over. We got this guy. He'll get you legal right away, no problems. And so we packed up our stuff into a shipping container and moved that way. Shipped animals, furniture, all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and so not long after we got there, though, I go and meet this guy, and the first thing he says is, well, what the hell are you doing here?
You mean her
to get
dad?
legal. No, the lawyer that was supposed to make it so I could live there legally. And first thing he says is, well, why are you doing here? You're supposed to do all that in America.
Oh, shit.
I was like, well, I was told that you do it. He's like, I don't do that. I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Wow.
Her parents had flat out lied to me.
Okay.
They wanted their daughter there.
Okay,
and as soon as I got there, they trying to break us up.
Okay,
to get rid of the stupid redneck American.
Right, right.
But for 3 years,
you tried.
Well, actually, it wasn't 3 years. I'm thinking about before I went there. We were there together for another 5 years.
Oh shit. Okay.
But our son was born 2 years into that. Yeah, because he was 3 when we broke up.
Okay.
And so, I mean, she didn't listen to their BS for a while, but it started getting to her eventually. I was working my ass off, making bank, because being the only English-speaking guy that can do anything.
Yeah.
As soon as they learn I'm an Oregonian, they're like, you work with wood? Do you deal things with roofing?
Yes,
and
yeah.
it was like, yeah, I could name any price I wanted. Kathy, on the other hand, she could spin no matter how much I made. I was broke as fuck every day.
Okay.
It was just like I'd go home and there it goes.
And you said for the first couple years at least, it was fine, but then they just wore her down.
But they wore her down. Yeah, I heard of times where they would have times they'd go to parties. They were Iranians only.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be invited.
You're excluded. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd call, hey, how's it going? And she's out in some car smoking a joint with a guy. It's like, I'm kind of starting to not trust you.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then
absolutely.
One day she said, we had 2 houses. We had the country house that I'd worked on and renovated and everything that we'd first moved into when we got there. But she wanted to move out and into town more, and so we got this house with a swimming pool and much nicer and everything. Of course, her mom's helping us do all this. And I'm not allowed to own anything in my own name because I'm still an illegal alien.
Yes.
And so she wanted a break. So I moved back out into the country house, and we took our break. And I guess I got to throw the scorpion story into that. The very first night when I went back out after we were breaking up, because this house had been sat empty out in the country for a while. And
Mel just showed up. Yeah, buddy.
I'll tell the scorpion story, and then you can start asking.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
When I first moved back out there, turned on a little propane heater, drank a couple beers, fell asleep on the couch. And
Mel. Okay.
The next day, I got up feeling sick. I said, whoa, 2 beers? Really? And the next day, sick. What is wrong with me? And I just stayed curled up on the couch there, feeling sick for 2 days. And finally, that was over a weekend. And I was supposed to pick Tom up after school come Monday. So I did that, picked him up, went back to the house where she was at. And I went to take a bath because I just laid on the couch all weekend. And I leaned back in the bathtub, and I was like, whoa, what is that? And I feel my back, and it's like, there's a weird lump.
Like a big bump.
Yeah. And I looked in the mirror, and there's big welts on my back, like 6 or 7 of them.
Oh, Jesus.
One of them still with a scorpion stinger in it.
So it stung you several
while
times.
I was sleeping.
Oh, yeah. Jeez. It was in the bed.
Yeah, it climbed up in right because the heater was there and everything. It brought it out. And so Tina comes home. Kathy comes home, and I tell her about it and everything. Of course, I'm supposed to be heading back out to the country house to let her breathe. But she insists on me seeing a doctor, and I go see the doctor. I was telling her, it's been 3 days now. If I was going to die from it, I'd die from it. The doctor said the same thing. Well, if he was going to die from it, he'd be dead from it.
Jesus.
And that's
I love how that's how they figure it out.
Yeah, that's
Let's just see
systems.
what happens.
Yep. But anyway, yeah, Kathy is who I had Tom with.
Okay.
And when he was 3, we broke up. And her mom, actually, right when we first broke up, her mom was offering to buy me a condominium and a vehicle back in Oregon. I was like, well, I would need to stay here for Tom. I have a son here. You could all this time, her parents, because they own businesses, could have easily signed a piece of paperwork and gotten me legal there.
Okay.
And I was like, if you just make me legal, that's
Yeah.
all I need. No. They wanted to buy me out and get
Okay.
me gone.
I'm assuming you've talked to Tom about this.
Oh, he knows all of
So
this.
this is nothing new. Okay. Okay.
Well, he was 3 years old when we broke up. She started spewing poison about me around the same time because when I
Okay.
found out that she was cheating on me, she's hated me ever since. Like, it was somehow I forced her to do it and then
right.
condemned her for it. And all I did was call her out.
So since Mel just got here and I have to take a raging piss, I can pause it. So let me
Oh,
pause it.
by all means.
We'll
Sounds
get
good to me.
settled. And I was only worried about if
Think
they
we could
act-
pause it long enough to take another snack or something?
Of course. I was just worried if they actually got busy. I didn't want to keep taking up their space, but I think we're fine.
It's not a weekend or anything, right? Well, yeah,
Let me
guess we'll
pause
find
to
out.
take a piss, and if they start coming in, then we'll shut it down. So
Sounds good.
Hey, Jason. Now it's just you and me.
This is all stories you've heard.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've heard them all. I've heard them
Yeah.
all, but maybe not all of them.
Probably not all of it, but the
But
gist.
But a lot of it, and very detailed. And actually, I did have opinions on some of it. It sucked watching you go through some of that. I'm going to be honest. I mean, it was your friend, and like that was hard, and she was nasty. She was
I
not
never
a nice
underst-
lady,
and
and
to
I
this
really did
day-
not want you to leave with her. I
To
didn't
this
want you
day,
to go.
she's still spitting venom about me, and it's like all I did was say, "I know you're cheating on me."
Is still recording?
Yeah,
Yes.
come on in. Yeah, we're recording without him, so he's doing a very good job.
I'm
doing
set for water then.
You've got water.
Yes.
But we are recording, so you should say something nice about Jason, and we're
And
talking about stuff. And
lean in more because you're not in the video if you want your face in.
I remember Jason was so sexy when I first met him. He looked like a little Ralph Macchio.
Ralph
He's still
Macchio.
sexy though.
Ralph Macchio, interesting. I don't.
I hated the Karate
I
Kid
never
because
s-
I got called
he,
that
you know
so
what? He
many
did.
times.
He told me that, but his curls made me not think Ralph Macchio, and his
You saw
long
me
the
with longer
curls.
hair.
And well, no, but at first it was short. Your hair was short because you
Right,
were in the
because of the
military. But at the
Except
but,
for my mohawk.
except for the
Part
end of the
that I hid up in my
military, you
hat.
decided to grow it long in the military.
There. How's that picture? He looks like a little Ralph Macchio, doesn't he?
Oh my God.
Oh, are we recording?
He looks
Can
just
I
like
put that
him.
in the camera
Yeah,
somewhere?
get on in there. He looks just like him.
You're not going to get that in there.
Hi. So how's it going in
Melody.
here? You guys having a good talk?
Yeah,
to be.
yeah, he's having a great time.
I'm babbling a lot. I don't really know if there's any real cohesion to anything yet. But
It's actually been a lot of
Words are
fun.
coming
It's been a
out.
lot of fun.
The what? Oh, the dick punching
think you
story.
should tell that
oh, we'll
story.
get to that, definitely.
Yes,
Oh,
you definitely-
absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's one of my favorites.
It's one of my
I
most
seriously, I
favorite
actually did
stories in the
remember
world.
later after we'd heard it again. I remember later and I was like, oh my God, that is funny.
Yeah. It's one of my
funny
favorite
and
stories
crazy.
in the world.
Yeah.
It crushes me and it makes me laugh all at the same time.
Kathy is not the only psycho that I dated.
No.
Clearly
no,
not.
No.
That one, this one takes the cake
Although
that we're
Kathy
talking
and
about.
Jen,
though.
those two, they definitely at the top of the list.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
We seem to be holding steady. I mean, we might not be completely sane, but you know,
Well,
We're
everybody's a little bit
absolutely not
insane.
crazy. We're just fun.
you technically have two exes sitting here with you.
Yeah.
Right?
How do you
I
feel
do,
about
yeah.
that?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Kind of used to it. I'm friends with so many of my exes that it just
Yes.
happens.
He kind of looks like he has a type in this picture here.
A what?
Looks like you kind of have a type in this photo. Yeah, and the hair. Yeah.
hair.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He likes Oregonians. Or, no, not always.
But does he?
no.
I definitely have no intention of going
Aren't you
too far
Oregon?
from Oregon
You are-
ever
yeah, you're
again.
from Oregon, are you?
Yeah, I'm Oregon born and raised.
Yeah, I was
yeah.
gonna say we're
Definitely.
born in Oregon. It's hard to find Oregonians these days.
Did you have anything yummy to
Not
eat,
if you're in
Jason?
Oregon.
Kind of.
Did you have anything yummy to eat?
I actually ate some nacho.
Nacho Mama.
Yeah. And it's not hurting my appendix.
Your
So-
appendix?
Yeah.
You mean
or
your,
my stomach.
your
or my-
pancreas, you mean?
Yeah. I guess it couldn't hurt my appendix. That's been gone for.
You know you're in pain
Long
when you
time.
don't identify the right organ that's literally
actually,
killing you.
I forgot to bring my oxycodone with me, and I'm kind of wishing I would have done that.
That's
I'm not hurting or anything right now. No, I definitely am staying away from aspirin or anything like that for a while.
Out of all of them, that's probably the best one for you to take.
But I'll get home and
Okay, I'll get out
my-
of the picture.
I'll get my oxycodone in me and I'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did. It really didn't fire off with anything.
Well, Thank God we're actually recording because I can listen back to it.
That's correct.
Mel, lean in so you get on camera.
I did.
There you go.
Yeah.
We're okay. That table is reserved at 6, so
Yeah, but
we
we're
have
not in
another
our way.
20 to 30 minutes we can talk, and then I have to pack it up.
Okay.
But
Okay.
actually, this worked out really great. So I want to give another shout out. Oh, the kind of the basic rule I told them: just try to keep it about a fist from
Yep,
your
I heard.
face. No,
Did you say fist?
No, fist.
fisting? Yes.
Stay away from that.
That's all I heard.
You're actually fine. If you want to, the bottom line in the center, that's my voice. So keep it in the orange, and then it's going to pick you up. Say something.
Say something.
There you go. Wow, you went all the way to the red, Mel.
What is that song? Say something. I don't know.
Well, cheers.
I'm getting over you.
I'm glad
Cheers
you
to
joined us,
Jason.
Mel. Thank you so
To
much.
Jason.
To Jason, absolutely.
Salud. Oh,
And I did want to do a quick. It's fine. I did want to do a quick another shout out, even though I have no viewers. The Pump House Bar and Grill here in Terrebonne has been incredibly accommodating. That they let me. As I just rolled in here. I told Jason earlier. I wanted them. I didn't want to call and ask. I wanted
Yeah.
them to see me in person, so they know I'm not a fucking weirdo. So I came in at 2:00 today. And
so that was your first lie?
I am not a weirdo.
We all are. If you're sitting at this table,
You're
you
right.
are a weirdo.
I am a weirdo, but I'm also fabulous.
Yes, you
so
are.
I,
So if you're going to Smith Rock, stop at the Pump House.
yes, absolutely. Terrebonne, Oregon. Obviously, Smith Rock is the destination, but the Pump House Bar and Grill is amazing.
Yep.
I just came in, and it was a little slower, but I walked up to the bartender and I said, so I have a weird question. I mean, it's not that weird, but it's kind of
No.
weird. And I said, I have a friend that lives here in Terrebonne. He's going to meet me here and maybe a couple others. And we want to record a podcast. So, I would never do that without permission. And she was like, yeah, as long as the camera doesn't face any other customers.
Yeah.
And I was like, of course not.
This is a perfect table for
Yes.
it. Yeah.
And she pointed this one out, and I was like, oh my God, you are the best. And they let me plug
like
into
it.
their power outlet. So, yeah, this all
I was
worked
just
out
saying
great.
that Jason looked like a little Ralph Macchio when I met him.
Oh my
But
God,
this
put
is
that in
younger
front
than
of the
I
camera. Put
tried.
put that
This
in-
is younger than when I
Nobody
met
can
him.
see it.
But
That is, wait a minute, how
I
old
know,
is he
right?
there?
How old
That's
is
not
he?
the Jason I remember.
No, that would have been probably junior high.
7th, Ackerman?
Probably.
7th, 8th grade? Okay, I mean, I recognize the black
Yeah.
coat because you were all in black back then, but
That was the same.
I have another one.
year,
Hold on.
basically, as the Karate Kid movie.
oh,
So I caught that
Ralph
from a lot. of
Macchio.
look at that one.
That's the Jason. Look how stylish he is with the blonde, the frosted bangs.
Oh yeah.
He
the-
still
I
has
love
that
that
devious
jacket.
smile. Look at him. I know, right? I
That
have
was
another
before I
one.
was in the army, so
Yep.
I would have had to been 16 or so. I was 17.
This
when
was
I
2
joined.
years ago. Almost 3 years ago now.
Dude, you're like, holy shit, you're like a fucking
I
movie
know.
star in that. What the fuck, dude?
You almost want him.
I do.
I
I'm
know,
straight,
right?
But I kind of want to fuck
I
that
know,
guy.
right? I'm gay and I. Oh wait, I already
Already
have.
did.
Hey, there's no shame.
Of course not.
No shame. No shame.
Well, I told you about that race
Take the
that I
player.
ran, didn't I? The Rugged Maniac.
No.
Chris McTavish, again, he runs marathons.
Okay.
And so he wanted to run this obstacle course race.
Is
And
it
so he-
almost like one of those mud
it's
run
like
things?
yeah, it's one of those where
Yeah, yes.
you're up and over obstacles,
Yes.
climbing under things, carrying heavy things, jumping over fires, and
Yeah.
doing monkey bars and
Right.
so forth. So I was in the wave before him because it went in waves.
Okay.
He's like, that's perfect because me being a marathon runner, I'll catch up to you and we can finish together. Well, I went through and I finished and I waited.
You're
and
waiting.
I waited.
You're
and I
waiting.
waited. He was a long time going.
That's amazing.
I ended up taking 33rd and he took 99th. But 99th is still respectable because it was out of 1,200 people.
No, that's really respectable.
So
Holy shit.
yeah.
You're
And
in the
that's-
top
and
like
I think
5%.
I took 33rd out of 112.
You're in
20
the
people.
top 2%,
120.
basically.
1,200 people.
Oh, look how serious you look. So I've always wondered this about military photos. Do they tell you to look serious? Because
More or
everybody
less.
does that.
Yeah,
Everybody's
you're-
like,
I don't think they'd let you go, hey.
hey, high five.
Yeah.
Right.
Jason and his sisters.
Trudy, and I didn't know you had
Michelle.
Michelle.
I didn't know
We
you had
haven't
a
gotten to
second
her yet.
sister. Okay.
Yeah, she's the older one. Yeah.
She's the one that lives in Sandy.
Well, are they both older?
And my Echo and Bunnyman t-shirt.
Are they both
Yep.
older?
You love
Yes.
that
Okay.
shirt.
Michelle's 3 years older.
Do you like the
She's
earring?
the one that I argued with all the time. as
that
kids.
is
See,
what I
look,
remember.
We keep it in the family.
That is what I remember in high school. You had your ear
Which
pierced.
earrings?
Yeah.
I had like 3 or 4 holes in my ear.
Yes.
I haven't worn jewelry in like 20 years.
That is fucking funny. Oh my
Not
God.
even a watch.
The only jewelry I have is in my tongue. So.
Too much of a glare. Anyway,
So
that's the photos that I have.
Melody is here, so just a quick
Yes.
intro. Longtime friend and current roommate. And
This is my platonic soulmate.
yes, and you kind of, I think you kind of organized the Hate Breed concert thing.
Yeah.
Right. So that was awesome. That was really fucking cool. And again, I got to randomly reconnect with some other people from high
Yeah.
school that I hadn't seen for
Nice.
34 fucking years. So a shout out to Mel for organizing that. That
Well,
was awesome.
well, I don't know. I'm not getting any pictures of this. Mike, will you take a picture of us here so that we have some more? And I'll add them to that
We
group
could-
of
we
his
could
birthday.
Got
probably-
a lot of pictures
we could-
happening right there.
We could
Okay.
we could probably ask a server to take a photo of all of us. Yeah. So I want Mike in it.
Yeah, that's true.
All right.
I would love to. Ken, I would love to ask that bartender anything. Please.
Do you think she'll say yes?
Oh yeah. She's like, I remember you from the last time you left me that really awesome dollar bill origami thing. I said, yeah. I was here on Valentine's Day, but that Valentine's doesn't exist anymore. And I said, does yours? She looked at me and smiled.
I was the first person to tell her I thought she was gay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's actually a moment. That's a fucking
so
cool memory.
obvious.
But that is a cool
Yeah.
memory.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's all the buddies hanging out there. Mel's there with us and everything.
Yeah.
Pretty gal walks by and everybody goes, "Oh, Mel's doing it too."
Yeah.
It's like, come on, how much?
And you're like-
I've been doing
pretty
that my
obvious.
whole life.
Yeah. And so,
I like that we all froze for your camera too, so you'll be able to get a still shot of that. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what
Can
now?
you get still shots from your video?
I probably could. I don't know how to do that, but I probably could. I'm sure there's
I
a
can
software
show
that
you.
can
Even
do
as
that.
you're
yeah.
watching, you can just watch it and screenshot as
Yeah.
you're watching it.
yeah.
But you could probably
Yeah.
sample this.
Watch it on a tablet, screenshot the whole time, and you'll get thousands
You
of
guys
photos.
have
Send me the
way
whole
more-
video, and I'll screenshot. I'll
way
grab
more
them all.
tech savvy than I am, but
Yeah,
I'm sure
I'll
we
grab
can
them all
we can
for
figure
you.
this out.
Yeah.
That's
I'll
all I
just-
know is
I'll just put it on a
screenshots.
thumb
That's not
drive and
tech
give you the
savvy.
file. So.
I think you should
Anyway,
cut
I
this
want to
down
get
like
back
a
to the whole
3-minute
medical
video.
thing eventually.
So what?
So
But I
let's-
need to finish how I.
Let's do that real quick.
Yeah.
But your other son then.
Right.
We talked about Tom. So let's
After Kathy and I broke up, I of course stayed there as an illegal alien. Lost a lot of my clients because a lot of my clients were friends of her parents.
Right.
And so that became a struggle. Not owning a vehicle became difficult. I actually
Well,
had
yeah.
to work with a mountain bike for a while. I
Jesus.
got a friend to put a vehicle in his car in his name so I could get around a bit, but that crapped out on me. And
Okay.
it just got kind of harder and harder. And eventually it got to a point, and the economy was crapping out more and more at that time.
Okay.
Well, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. In that span of time, I met the mother of my second son.
And again,
And-
his name?
That's Alexander.
Alexander and
Yeah.
Thomas. Okay.
Correct. And
So we're talking about Alexander now.
right. And I met his mom, and we moved in together, lived together for a couple of years. So the story went, had a surgery when she was younger that went wrong and was incapable of getting pregnant.
Okay.
And we were like a couple of rabbits for several years.
Because
Like three
you
to
didn't
8
have to
times
worry.
a
You
day.
thought you didn't have to worry about anything.
Right.
It was like,
and,
yeah,
and we didn't.
it's better than a
Nothing
condom.
happened. And then she starts talking about wanting a kid.
Okay.
And all I could think was, well, it sucks to want what you can't have.
Right.
But I was working at this job. I had a big 9-bedroom house with an indoor swimming pool that I was renovating up in Holland. And so I was up at the job site working, and I get a call from her, and she says she's pregnant. And we're like, what? Really?
How the
what?
immaculate
So
conception.
anyway, yeah. So along comes Alex. When he's 4 months old, she tells me she wants to move back to Holland to learn to be a pedicurist.
Okay.
And then as soon as she'd learned, she'd move back down to Spain to be with me again.
Okay.
Well, going up and learning happened, but the moving back didn't.
Okay.
But I was up in Holland a lot anyway for clients that I had up there. And so I got to see him on and off and such. But then
Okay.
eventually the economy crapped out and such. I had to move back to Oregon or
Yeah.
sleep under a bridge.
Right.
That's 2013 when I got back here.
Okay.
And then, of course, that was all basic crap, just work things and everything. The whole medical procedure and all that, of course, is much newer.
So,
we
Alexander is still in Holland.
Yes.
And Thomas is still in Spain.
Correct.
Okay.
Tom started studying martial arts when he was 3,
Okay.
and he's studied it. And he's super smart, so it clicks in his. He picked up English and like left and right and stuff when he was like 1.
Nice.
And then along came Spanish at the same time, which turned into Spanglish. The little kids around that area, because
Yeah.
they speak both languages,
Okay.
speak their own language. That's a combination of the two. It was the cutest thing to listen to.
So it's not just an Adam Sandler movie. That's a real thing.
I guess so, yeah,
Spanglish.
pretty much. I mean, those kids did it.
Yes.
But then he decided he wanted to learn Mandarin. Like that. He's got it in his head.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm sure I've never gotten to, well, I've gotten to see some of his training videos. And he looks
Right.
pretty impressive.
That's fucking
He's got
cool.
a lean build like me, but he's built a lot more solid than I was.
So a little thicker, kind
Yeah.
of.
Well,
okay.
not thicker. The same. Like I have like bird bones. I'm lightweight for my size.
Okay.
He's the exact same size, but weighs more. He's just denser.
Oh, denser. That makes sense. Okay.
So he
let's.
take a good
We
pounding.
have about 15, 20 minutes. So, medical,
Medical.
American
Yeah,
medical
we
care,
gripe
whatever you
about
want to
and
say, man.
The whole lockdown thing. Had that not happened, my cancer would have most likely been caught in time for them to have gotten rid of it with surgery, and I'd be sitting here as a diabetic right now at the worst.
So, kind of, I think what you're trying to say is because of
Dr. Fauci killed me.
Because of that's fair.
what it comes down
because
to.
of the overreaction
Yeah.
and the fucking lockdown
Those
and all the
lockdowns.
lies they told.
You know, it was
that
ridiculous locking down
you
places.
couldn't you couldn't get
Hospitals.
access to proper health care,
Right. All I could get were COVID tests.
which
And I
was
think what-
irrelevant to
what-
what you were going through.
What kills me about that is that he wanted to go in, which is rare for him. He's like, doctors, psh, whatever with doctors. But this pain that he had, it was familiar to me. Like, I was like,
Oh, that's right. You went through it.
That's
yeah.
not good. Like, there's
Yeah.
no reason that he should be feeling that, and that's more than a sympathy pain.
Yeah.
So he actually wanted to go in. And, you know, honestly, I think had we gone in then, we could have caught that around
yeah,
stage 2 or 3 maybe, I think.
I definitely wouldn't
Yeah.
be dying.
Yeah.
I've actually had doctors telling me that.
Yeah.
Looking at where you were when they found it, and most likely, if you're talking about a year earlier, yeah, you could have been curable.
They
then.
literally denied him access.
Because of all these ridiculous fucking lockdowns.
We'll test you,
Yeah.
and if you have COVID, we'll bring you in.
Yeah, they would have
That's
been
fucking
all over
insane.
it had they been able to blame COVID.
If you
on it.
have COVID, which is a fucking cold, we'll bring you in to treat you. But if you have cancer, which will fucking kill you, no, you have
But
to
they
stay in
were
the parking
already
lot.
pushing the cancer cure as hard as they could. The COVID cure was a new one. They weren't done making money off that yet.
You know,
Exactly.
I love Jason for the trust that he gave me in that moment. I was like, you know, that doesn't sound good. And he, like I said, he's not one to want to go to doctors.
Right.
But the fact that he was willing, you know, that steams both of us. I know it does, especially him.
Yeah.
But
I'm now steamed with just the whole system.
Yeah.
The thing that I've noticed is that so many doctors and even nurses to a degree, but not nearly as bad. Nurses are way better at just trying to do what's right.
Okay.
So many doctors make a point of only focusing on their expertise because that's
Okay.
where their money is, and they don't
Yes.
learn enough other things. And as a result, I
So I-
almost died
I
2 weeks
think
ago
I think
because
I see.
of the not.
I think I see
people
where
not
you're
learning.
going with this is the major flaw in the American medical system is there's too much of a financial incentive.
Correct.
Instead of like, let's take care of the
Let's face
patient.
it, the expert always makes more than the handyman,
Yeah.
and it's
And-
going to be the same in any field.
Yeah.
And so all the doctors want to be the specialist in one field, so they're the man.
And they have the blinders on.
Right.
and
so
unfortunately, I don't put a lot of faith in this health
my
system that's
cancer
down here.
doctors, I talk with them every 2 weeks before my treatment about what meds I'm taking,
Okay.
and they know all my meds, and they've always signed off on them. And for a long time, 2 years more, it worked great. Well, I end up in the hospital a while back because I was throwing up blood.
Right. Just a few
Copious
weeks
amounts,
ago.
yeah. And I just thought it was my treatment again making me sick. But when I realized it was blood, my mom, of course, was there hovering over me, and
Right.
she's called the hospital. They took me in. As soon as I get there, every doctor starts asking, how many blood thinners do you take? How many blood thinners do you take?
Oh, it's the aspirin thing. Yes.
Yeah, but they never asked
Wait.
me how much aspirin.
There's
And
more.
it was a couple days, it was after a day or two of being there. And the doctors and the nurses, everybody was wonderful at the hospital. They're really, really nice people.
Okay.
And they asked a few questions that made me think things like, well, how much blood thinner? And then
Yeah.
it came up that aspirin's a blood thinner. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well, I'm taking a shitload of aspirin as well. Well, at that time, they did give me an endoscopy that found
Ulcers.
ulcers, thank
yes. Yes.
you, in my stomach. And
Probably caused
those
by the aspirin.
ulcers, the aspirin and stuff, caused them. They ruptured. That's the blood I was puking.
Okay.
But because of the blood, they jumped on checking me for lots of other things. And at that same time, the CT scan showed that my liver was completely dying, according to what they could see. I mean, it was like crapping out.
Right.
And they assume it's my cancer. So nothing they can do about it. My liver's dying. Once your liver's dead, you're dead.
They're like, stop taking the aspirin and your Eliquis. Stop taking all blood thinners. Bye.
Yeah.
That was the advice.
That was the advice. That's,
Okay.
Yeah. That at least will get me as far as I can go.
Okay.
That'll deal with the stomach issues. I won't puke blood anymore, which
Right.
was nice because that was bad.
That has to
I've done
fucking
a lot
suck.
of throw-upping.
Yeah, that sucks.
That was a bad one.
Thankfully,
And
I made an appointment like a couple months ago.
yeah, she'd made this appointment to talk to a specialist in Portland.
Well,
Back when my treatment started getting shaky.
Oh, right.
Dr. Shepard was my transplant doctor.
Yeah,
he's
we're
one
not
of the
using too many names
sorry.
here.
Well, I'm giving him a shout out. He's one of
Yeah,
the,
you can
the
use
best
names if it's
pancreatic
positive.
best
Absolutely.
pancreatic surgeons in the world, and he
Yes.
did mine. And he saw Jason come with me countless times. So when I told him what was going on, he immediately got him in, which
That's
is
awesome.
for him to get in immediate, like within 2 weeks. That means that there's a care for
Yeah.
Jason,
Yes.
you know, and
He's
he got
the
him in.
super
and,
expert when it comes to
you know,
pancreas.
to find out if there was anything that he could, do.
Yeah.
And so I reached out to Dr. Shepard again after he was in the hospital, what was it? Why did I do that? I'm not sure. I finally talked him into it, and I reached out about that surgery.
Well, it's because the treatments were starting to drop, and we needed to see
And
if
you
there was
wanted to
some
talk about that
new
procedure.
treatment that they're doing,
Yeah.
some tests that they're doing on rats that they can now test on people.
Right.
Is there any chance of keeping me alive?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
that he could do it, and I called, and unfortunately he said, it's the same answers we gave him before. It's not something we can do. With any
Okay.
kind of cancer, when it gets oxygen, it immediately spreads. So if
Right.
it's already spread, they won't
That's
do it.
why they were afraid to
So
do
he
surgery.
referred him to an oncologist up there, Dr. Lopez, who he did speak with before, and he was great. And leave it up to OHSU to find what other hospitals can't. And I'll let Jason finish that part there.
So anyway, last
you're
night
fine.
we talked to the specialist.
We're gonna.
And while talking to the specialist, tell him about what my liver's doing, and he looks at all the charts, reads the numbers and such, and he asks, well, how much Tylenol do you take? 6 a day.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that'll do to your liver exactly what your liver is
What's
doing
happening
right now.
Yes.
Have you taken any in a while? No, I haven't taken any Tylenol in a while. Stay off it. I've been off of it, and every day since leaving the hospital, I've progressively been getting better, feeling fine. When I was in the hospital, when I would pee, it was like thick glue almost. When I
Oh,
flushed the
geez.
toilet, it would literally like stick to the
Yes,
toilet bowl
yes.
as it was going down.
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it was like
It was
like
viscous,
the
very
color
viscous.
of this wooden table. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you told me that today. I was like, that's
And they
not
were
like
pumping
a
me
sign
full
of
of
a
fluids at that time too. I should have been extremely
Yeah.
hydrated.
right,
Yes,
and that's
my
not a
liver
sign
was
of a
dying.
dying liver. That's a sign of your liver's being toxified.
Yes.
Like something's happening.
Yes.
And
And
now
then
it's starting to turn
continuing
into
that-
clear, regular, little bit of yellow to it, but it just looks like pee again.
And you're not puking up blood
And I'm
anymore.
not puking up blood or anything. I'm
Did you tell
pretty
what
damn
Dr.
sure I'm
Lopez
not
said
dying.
about the
Fuck,
Tylenol.
well,
But,
you don't
yeah.
seem like it.
Yeah.
And
But
again,
a couple
I
days
said this
ago, they
before
told
you
me I
got
had 3
here.
weeks to live.
I know, and I said this before you got here. There's a ton of courage here.
Oh yeah.
It's still
Yeah,
the Jason
fighter.
I knew from middle school. Like, I can't believe how well you're handling this.
It's my only option. I mean,
I got these for a reason. Did you tell him about the Tylenol? What Dr. Lopez said?
I just did.
Yeah. Okay, I missed that. Yeah. I mean, that easy. And OHSU did that for me too. That same health system almost killed me by missing a scan. And they gave it to OHSU within 3 minutes. They had it
Yeah.
diagnosed.
They literally just looked at it and went, oh,
Yeah.
look, ruptured valve.
23 days in
It's
the
like
hospital.
for months she'd had a ruptured valve in her pancreas
Yeah.
opening, blowing stuff
Yeah.
into her body, but they missed
They
it.
were looking at it for 23 days and they didn't see it, So I had to get mine removed, and now same things. And they were very honest with me when they said, we don't actually have a pancreatic specialist in Central Oregon. And I was like, you could have led with that.
Yeah, you're just now telling us.
If we say anything, always get a second opinion,
Yeah.
if not a third.
Let's a few minutes. Let's wrap it up. And
Oh.
anything else you want to
I
share?
suppose I wanted to try and push my GoFundMe. thing
That's
because
right.
The thing about
How
this,
do they find it?
I collect
I'll send it.
disability, of course,
Mm-hmm.
like most, not through the veterans. I'm not getting anything from Uncle Sam.
Okay.
I looked and tried, but
Okay.
because Uncle Sam didn't cause my cancer, therefore they're not going to do anything about it.
Right.
So I get regular disability. Used to
Huh.
be $1,200. But a year ago, they decided to drop it down to 1,000 because 1,200 is just way too much.
Obviously.
Yeah. And so I've basically been living off the kindness of strangers.
Yeah.
And it blows me away.
And he really needs that continued right now, like major
Yeah.
support.
That there's
He needs
perfect
it.
strangers that are willing to just, I don't know the guy, but he's having a hard time. I got to help.
Yeah.
And so my GoFundMe, which I guess you just look me up, Jason Marquis.
I'll share it with you.
Share it
yeah.
on
I'll yell
share
at
it on
you.
Facebook and we'll blow it up. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. And
Okay.
Yeah, I can't believe. I mean, that's kept us
Doesn't
in
that
a home.
Doesn't that give us that gives us hope for humanity?
It
We're
does.
we're not talking about politics, but you know what? At the end of the day, we're all humans. We're all part of the same country.
Yeah, and people care.
And people
They
actually
really do.
No matter who you voted for, people care. There's a
Yeah.
lot of good people in this country.
Actually, I have a box that I have to finish building. It's a little decorative box where every side of it is ingrain. And I'm sending it to this guy that he doesn't really know about it yet, but I did get his address from him. I was talking to people on Facebook about I'm on a couple different groups. One of
Yeah.
them for the old Dodge cars that I collect.
Right.
I have a 1956 Dodge Lancer Custom Royal.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay.
And it doesn't run or anything. There's not even an engine in it right now. I have a Hemi 325 that I will be dropping in it someday, I hope, if I can find the right mechanic. But anyway, I just talked to
don't know
these
how to
guys.
work on that.
I was talking about, it's got all the chrome and everything. And this version that I have is the one that has all the chrome.
Yeah.
And I said, the only thing that's kind of bad on it, it's got a broken mirror. And he's like, what's your address?
That's an easy fix.
Yeah. And he said, but it's a difficult thing to find.
Oh, I see. What
They
you're-
only made 76,000.
So original parts
Dodges
are
and
original
fixes.
parts are hard
Yeah.
to find.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
get
And
this.
he
Yes.
just sends me a in the box brand new
Oh.
mirror. He's like, well, I've got an extra from my car.
That is fucking amazing.
So I feel like I'd love to send him something back.
That's
so that's
awesome.
on my bucket list. Is before I'm dead and gone, I got to send him something
Yes.
back to say
Even
thank
if
you.
you drop tomorrow, I'll get it sent. But you probably share that address
Well,
with
the
me.
problem is I got to still put hinges on it,
Just
and I
saying.
can't find hinges I like. I'm so
Okay.
picky about hardware.
Yeah.
And it's just if it was just something I was making, it would never get finished.
Yeah.
Because I don't put on what I don't like, but I have to get it to him. I have to do something. So eventually I'm
We'll
going to
get
actually
it to
have to
him.
settle
Absolutely.
and put the wrong hinges on it, but so be it.
Therein is why we all sit here today, because he does stuff like that, and
Yeah.
that's what keeps us all with our arms around him. And he's kept his arms around me for the last 5.5 years while I've been so sick. And I swear I would take this for you if I could.
Yeah, no need for that though. You've already gone through enough shit.
It's just not fair.
And this is just the way life is. It's not karma. It's not
No, it just happens.
too much smoking or the water.
But you know what?
It just happens.
Genetics.
This whole thing brought together a lot of good people and made new connections. Jesus Christ, I'm gonna wrap it up before I start bawling. Dude, this was awesome.
So-
I'm glad you wanted to do this. Melody, thank you. Tina, Mike, thank you guys.
I'm glad
So-
that you pushed me to do this. This
Yes.
definitely the first time I ever did something like this because I don't even like having my photo taken. Cameras come out and I hide. Well, that's
Right,
why I actually
right.
got into photography back when it was all still
To
analog.
find a way to make yourself look
if
better.
you're behind the camera,
Oh,
nobody's
you're never
pointing
in
one
front
at
of
you.
it.
Yeah. So I just made a point of always having a camera.
All right, you have something to say.
Anyway, so on Facebook, it's pretty simple to lead you to his actual page. It's
Mm-hmm.
Jason's Support Squad. It's that easy. You just type it in the search bar, and you can
Okay.
find his actual page.
On Facebook.
His sister's really good at posting these pictures with his. We have these bracelets that say
Yep.
that are for Jason, and she posts them everywhere. She sets
Oh,
them everywhere.
that's-
Takes photos
That's
for him.
awesome.
But in there is also the GoFundMe. Unfortunately, the GoFundMe doesn't just say his name. It's literally like GoFundMe, GoFund.me/C as in cat, C as in cat, A as in apple, 8513 D as in dog.
Okay.
All that said, Michelle told me if you just go to GoFundMe
Yeah.
and type in my name,
Oh.
That too,
Jason
yeah.
Marquis,
Okay.
Marquis.
It's also in the
You'll
About Me
find me.
section on Jason's Support Squad. So,
Okay.
and this new GoFundMe's been up for a while, and
And
the
people
amount,
still
the
put
dollar,
money in it.
right? But the
Yeah.
dollar amount that he's at after this much time, people knowing, that it's everybody's been through and
People
been
I
around
don't
people
know
that have
know me.
died, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
how expensive it is and how
You
hard
care
it is
about
to
me.
get
You pay
by.
for me.
I'm kind of sad at how low that
Pay my
money that's been
bills.
raised
Can't believe I
is,
gotta have
but
other people paying my bills.
it should be maxed out by now, you know.
Or
It just
we're
really
gonna-
should. So
we'll
we need
blow
to
it
let
up.
people know.
And we'll share it.
Yeah.
Because I'll upload this probably tonight, and I will share it with everybody, and we'll tag everybody. And yeah, this was really cool. I really appreciate you
definitely.
all doing this for me. So, and now a last-minute shout-out to the Pump House Bar and Grill. They have been way too accommodating, but there is a group at this table, so we have to shut
they're
this
fine.
down. But
Yeah, they said they're fine, but
I know,
did
but-
you want to tell your?
oh,
Oh yeah,
He
you
does
just
do
have
it,
one
do
more
it.
thing to say.
absolutely.
There is the one story going back to the crazy women that I've dated.
Oh, this
The
should
last
be fun.
one, this is when I decided to just go celibate. Enough's enough. The last gal that I dated with, I'll just jump right to it.
No
After
names.
several years of living together, well, actually, she's dead now, so she can't. do
Okay,
anything
never
about
mind.
Why is she dead?
Because she took her own life.
Okay.
But that's irrelevant to this story.
Okay.
I woke up one morning to being punched in the dick with her
Ow.
hovering over me, screaming
Ow.
at me, "Who are you dreaming about?" Because
Morning
I
Wood.
woke up
mean,
with
everybody
Morning
knows
Wood.
about
Because
this.
you had
Morning Wood. Everybody knows
right.
about
Every
this.
man does that.
Yeah.
She has a son. She's been married twice before she met me. She knows what it is. But still, that's what I wake up to. Is her punching me in the dick and screaming at me because I'm cheating on her in my dreams.
Maybe you were having a dream about her.
That's what I said. After a while, calmed down and the pain subsided. I was like, that's your fucking go-to?
Yes.
Really?
She
That's
had no
punch
logic.
me? You
So-
didn't think, hey, do something nice? So,
And of course, he slept on his stomach from then
yeah,
on out,
I-
but he's
I
got
started
another
getting
part to
Lorena
this for you.
Bobbitt type thoughts in my head.
You're right.
And I was literally scared to sleep.
Yes.
Sleeping on his
So
stomach.
I slept on my stomach for about a week until one day I wake up on my back again, and she's being much friendlier to me.
Okay.
Unfortunately, in my head, first waking up and everything was
Dude.
scream, jump out of bed.
You've been traumatized.
And go,
Yeah.
is it still there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And so, of course, that created
One
a big
hand's on
argument
it.
and
Where's
everything.
the scissors? Is what
Yeah.
he's thinking.
And she was just trying to be nice, but that didn't go well.
No, but not after that first interaction.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
It was kind
For
of, that's
Jason
something
to
that
actually
sticks
have
in your
to
head.
scream and jump out of bed, man, yeah, he must have had the fear in him.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the first time I'd actually been scared in a
That
long
story
time.
still blows my mind. Yeah.
I mean,
So-
I guess
Absolutely.
I guess a jolt of fear and adrenaline reminds you that we're still alive. I'm trying to put a rosy fucking color on this.
I
but
can't even, I mean, I was laying flat, and yet
Oh
I
my
still
God.
jumped. How do you jump from laying flat?
Well,
like
I
a-
did that. Remember when you stayed the night when you came back from Spain?
No, that
I-
wasn't a jump. That was a fall.
I wasn't
You
used
just
to a
fell on
man
your
sleeping
head.
next to me, and I roll over in the morning, and he goes, "Good morning."
You're like, hey,
And
what's
I
going
just
on?
left
You're like,
the bed. The bruise on my leg from hitting the
She
cabinet.
just rolled over backwards
Yeah,
out of the
just
bed.
flopped
Did you
in
land
bed
on your
and fell
feet
on my-
like
no.
a cat does?
No. My whole
She
leg
landed
was
on the
bruised.
furniture that was next to her.
And then it landed on me.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
It was good. It was
I
funny.
wish there was
In
video
hindsight,
of
it's pretty
that.
funny. You know?
Yeah, it's
Good
fucking
morning.
hilarious.
And I was
I'm,
like,
I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
that's not a woman. Why did I just sound like Mickey Mouse?
There's so many stupid little stories like
Yeah.
that.
Hey,
Definitely
again,
get looked over,
again,
but-
I have
Yep.
every Thursday and Friday off. I have a Prius. It doesn't cost me much to drive over, so we could do this again if you want. Maybe at your house next time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's
So,
do
so
it
we don't
next
have
week.
to annoy
Or
them.
just meet up and go out, take the canoe out on the water, go
Yes.
fishing, do something like that.
Absolutely.
Doesn't have to be in front of a microphone.
You're right, exactly, because I love this area. Fuck yeah.
It's
Yeah.
going to be cold.
All right,
here
I'm gonna
coming
wrap it up. but
Yeah,
I
for a while we
so
got cold.
I
and then
so appreciate
the
you
canoe's
guys.
going to stay put away for a while.
Yeah, yes.
Because here comes
Thank
the
you,
snow.
Ken.
Yeah, that was great.
Thank you, Mel.
I love you, Jason. Okay, did you